everyone. You're now listening to episode 5 of the Cool Epic Awesome podcast. I'm your co host, Matt.
Joe?
And today we're joined by a special guest, a fan of the podcast. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
What's up? I'm Joe. I hail from Staten Island, New York City, like these two bunches. And yeah, I mean, we pretty
Yeah,
much
well,
like the same stuff.
yeah, Joe, thanks for joining us. I guess one thing I'll ask before we get started is can you talk about maybe some movies that you love or types of movies? What are you into in terms of entertainment?
Um, well, obviously the MCU. I mean, who isn't into the MCU these days? I mean, it kind of dominates everything. And I like Star Wars a lot. Anime. What else? I love Tarantino movies. Pretty much everything. I mean, I dabble in pretty much everything. I mean, I love Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's probably my favorite show ever made. Avatar: The Last Airbender is up there too. Um, Dragon Ball Z, which we're gonna get into the Dragon Ball Super movie in this podcast, so we're gonna talk about that. One Piece, JoJo's, that's more anime stuff. But yeah, pretty much a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely still gotta get to Breaking Bad. I haven't seen that yet, but
Yeah, no,
I,
Breaking Bad is peak like cinema. Well, I guess not cinema because it's on TV, but peak film for sure. Yeah.
all right, well, good. I mean, it seems like we have similar interests in general, and I feel like we basically knew that beforehand. I know
Yeah.
you two like
Yeah.
anime a lot more
Yeah.
than I do.
Yeah.
Joe's one of the people to get me into anime.
Yeah, I was into back when like you had on, like illegal sites and stuff like that, like Kiss Anime and Nine Anime, like. But now you have like Crunchyroll, which is on like you could download it on your Xbox or you could download it on your PlayStation, and you could just watch everything like on demand, or it's on net, or they're partnering with Netflix now. It's pretty mainstream here now. You'll see people watching it, but yeah, I've been into that for a while. The anime space. I don't really watch it as much anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, um, you can tell there's a lot more of a demand for it in the US now, for sure. As we'll talk about it later, but Dragon Ball, the movie opened up #1 domestically,
Oh,
which
wow, I
I
didn't
don't.
know
Yeah, I
that.
saw that.
I knew it did really well. Like I saw it like broke some record for like opening weekend for like an anime film, but I didn't know it was like #1 overall. Then.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess for just a little rundown of the podcast. So the first movie
Well,
we'll talk about is Bodies, 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 which we all saw, and then we'll talk about Dragon Ball. Then we'll go into some movie news. There's a bunch of stuff we got to get into. Ezra Miller finally apologized. What are the other big ones, Joe? You want to take over, my brother?
hang on just a second.
Sorry about that. Come up with
You good over there?
yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
We're rocking and rolling.
yeah.
Yeah. So Joe, wait, do you want to mention some of the
No,
movie news we were going to talk about?
yeah,
Me?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we could talk about Dragon Ball Z Super first. I mean, that's like the biggest thing I want to talk about. Actually, yeah, let's start with that. Dragon Ball Z.
Well, that's crazy that you didn't even listen to a thing I just said. That's
No,
the
I
crazy
wasn't
No,
part.
it's
thinking.
because he was off.
No, I
He was
wasn't.
off.
I was
He
with
was
the
off the
dog.
mic.
Oh, oh,
No, I was like, that's why I said like, sorry about that, about the dog. I ran off the
it's
mall.
all right. I forgive you. I forgive you. No, but I said we would talk about bodies, bodies, bodies first,
Oh, I didn't hear you. All
and
right, yeah,
then
yeah.
Dragon Ball. And then I was saying, all right, we'll talk about some movie news. And I was seeing if you would mention any of the news.
Oh. I mean, the biggest thing. I'm trying to think if that happened this week. I mean, I don't know if you.
Shazam.
Yeah, Aquaman and Shazam were both
That's like
delayed
the most.
until I believe Aquaman is next December, and Shazam is March.
Yeah,
Which
sorry, go ahead.
like like it does make sense from a financial standpoint because Shazam was going up against um the new Avatar movie, and I was actually reading like a lot of the screens that they wanted to buy out, like for Shazam to be shown in, like the huge IMAX screens were being bought out by Avatars. Like they wouldn't be like as big of like a distribution as there would be if they did a different date. And it also gives like the VFX people more time to like fix things and stuff. So it does make sense from like a financial standpoint, but as a fan, like it sucks to be a DC fan because we
Yeah, and
This past month has been so rough.
yeah
I mean, past 2 months.
yeah,
it,
we'll once we get into that movie news, we'll talk about it more. But just WB in general, what they're doing with
yeah
HBO
Yeah.
Max, all that stuff,
yeah
and also just a couple
they,
small things. The Boys season 4 started filming. We'll talk about.
yeah
Saw
um
10 got announced,
mhm.
and one thing that I'm kind of interested to hear your guys' thoughts on, but we'll get to it later, was that they cast a lead in the new Planet of the Apes trilogy that they're making.
I saw that, and I don't know if you also
So,
wanted to touch on they announced the Fantastic Four director.
oh
Well,
yes,
not
well,
officially.
Isn't it the
yeah, well,
person who did WandaVision?
Yes, yeah, same person.
yeah. So, all right, and then we'll end the podcast. We'll talk about The Thing, which Joe recommended last week. So, and I'm pretty sure we all loved it, but we'll
Yeah.
get to that later.
Mhm.
So, all right, yeah. Sorry for that jumbled up intro, but let's start with the first movie. So, we all went to see Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Um, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about it, to
Yeah,
be honest.
same.
I know you guys saw it more. I saw it like 2 weeks ago, so I don't really remember it, to be honest. But
I saw it
I saw
yesterday.
it
Yeah,
yesterday
so
too.
me and
Yeah.
Joe probably have a
yeah,
better.
you
Yeah.
guys. I'll chip in, but you guys start the conversation.
Yeah, I'll talk about the things I liked about the movie first. I mean, I thought the script was good. Like, I like when movies sound like how people actually talk. Like, I felt like this was an accurate interpretation of how people from Gen Z like talk. Like everyone at this house, like like partying and stuff. It reminds me of like in the beginning, obviously, but like me going upstate with my friends, like just like similar interactions with people and stuff. Like I was like, oh shit, that kind of reminds me of that. I thought that I don't know all the actors and actresses' name, but I think everybody did a pretty good job with the script they had. The standouts to me were probably Pete Davidson, which I really enjoyed, and the woman from Borat too. I don't know her name off the top of my head.
Her name's like Maria
Yeah,
Baklova or something. But
but
yeah, just in case anyone didn't watch the movie, it's basically a murder mystery horror comedy that's a satire, and it's making fun of Gen Z. So it's like
yeah,
these a bunch of people in Gen Z throw a party, and then someone winds up dead, and have to figure out who did it.
yeah.
So yeah, and Joe, you want to give your thoughts because you saw it like yesterday. You said right?
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I only watched it because that's the movie we are talking about for this week, and sometimes I'll watch trailers for movies on TV, or I'll see like something of a movie, and I just know I'm not interested in it. And I wasn't really that interested in this movie, and I went into it. And Matt, I read your review on Letterboxd before I actually watched it, and it said something like, I don't even know what to say. Like it was almost like nothing.
Yeah,
And that's honestly how I came out of it. I mean, I just watched it and I was like, all right. Like the most, well, I mean, if you want to just dive into it right away, but the most like the only really like redeeming part of the whole movie that like made me laugh, but it wasn't even in like a good way. It was just the ending, and it just kind of had. It was just so stupid. Like that was the only
yeah,
thing that like I really remember, to be honest. Like I just wasn't into it at all. But I also wouldn't have watched it because I could just see it wasn't for me.
mm,
But yeah, it was. I mean, at some points it kind of had me like grasped. I guess like when Pete Davidson. I mean, Pete Davidson is pretty much just Pete Davidson in
Yeah,
this
he's just
movie.
like
I mean, like his
yeah,
buffalo eyes and dark humor.
there.
Like
yeah. Either you like him or you don't. I
yeah,
like him though.
Yeah,
So
I don't mind him. I watched one of his stand-ups on Netflix and I thought it was pretty funny, but like I wouldn't declare myself like a Pete Davidson mega fan or anything like that. Like he was good, I guess.
yeah, and about that ending, because I feel like that ending is gonna make or break whether you like the movie or not. And
Yeah.
to me, it was just like
yeah.
it kind of like as soon as um I saw that the phone wasn't hers at the end, I was like, "There's no way they're doing this." Like, really?
I still
And
don't
then
understand like how did she get his phone? Like
because it was in the pool,
oh, I thought like no,
or it was either in the pool or in the mud, but it was like left out there.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I that just like I was towards the end. I was like, all right, like this is okay. Like it's not like that bad. And then like the whole. I didn't like the whole twist of like there's no actual killer. Like they all just giving up like fucking.
I guess I was trying to do something different. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never seen, especially with a TikTok and Pete Davidson like killing himself by
Cutting his
accidentally holding a
fucking-
machete.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean, it was that was the only part of the movie where I was actually like really gripped by what was happening, but it wasn't for a good reason, I guess you could say. Like I was just, it was so stupid. I was just like, that's hilarious. Like they all
Yeah.
just killed each other pretty much just because Pete Davidson like was making a TikTok. Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of
you know,
I guess it's trying to show like how people can be affected by paranoia, you know? Which
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that we're talking about The
Doing the
Thing
thing
because
too, yeah.
it takes
Yeah.
all those ideas and just does it like 10 times better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Isolated
it,
in a storm, like there's like, isn't there like a hurricane or something that's
yeah,
like
so
really
no one
fast?
they're stuck there, like they can't leave.
It's kind of weird to be comparing like the thing and bodies,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, one thing also that it did was since it's a horror comedy and it's a satire, it instead of making fun of who it's not marketed for, it made fun of its own audience, I feel like, which is it's
yeah,
not something you see a lot.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I mean,
It
like
definitely.
I have such a like a shit posty type of humor that like this movie's humor had like zero effect on me. I guess like the closest I got to like being amused by it was like hearing Pete Davidson's lines, but you know he goes for like a completely different type of humor than the rest of the movie. I guess.
Yeah. I quickly want to I don't know if I was the only one, but wasn't the first scene like kind of questionable a little
Yeah,
bit?
I was actually talking about that
Yeah,
before with my friend. Like, it was just like there's zero need for that fucking scene, like at
Yeah.
all. Like,
And
if you
it
want to show, like, if you want to show them that they like each other, like, there's way better ways of doing it. Like, they don't need to be like Frenching each other. Like, as soon as and then like she tries to fucking like finger her,
yeah.
like,
yeah, it was very
it was
off-putting.
weird.
And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has nothing to do with the fact that it's like
Yeah,
that it's two girls. If it was a girl and a guy, it still would have been
It
weird for
still
their
would
yeah,
have
it
been
still would have been
weird.
weird. Yeah, yeah, no, that's 100%
to-
true. I mean, it was kind of just like I guess it's because it's like kind of like a teen horror. Like I guess a bunch of teens are going. Maybe they wanted to throw that in there and get everybody like
Yeah.
aroused. So I guess.
Yeah, actually, speaking of teens, when I went, like these random two teenagers, like, yo, like, can you buy me tickets to Bodies, Bodies, please? And I was like,
Did
fuck off. No,
really?
no, I
You
didn't
didn't
tell him
buy
fuck
them
off.
tickets?
I was just like, why don't you just buy a ticket to a different movie and go in? He was like, oh, and then like that was it.
Damn.
Yeah,
This
You're a
kid
real
was
one, Joe. You're a good one for that.
he was like, it was like this kid and his date. Like you could tell he was like he was like, oh, like he was getting embarrassed about it. He's like, oh, just get
Yeah.
another fucking ticket to a movie. Then I got chase you in.
Yeah, he probably would have loved that first scene, honestly.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, what's it called? One thing I also noticed, like, not that I noticed, but one of my main takeaways was like how much I hated that character Jordan, the
Who
one
was
that
that?
the one
yeah,
that
I
got
can't
killed
remember.
by she got like pushed off the stairs and like
She was alright. I mean, I didn't really like
I
hate her
hated. She was
character.
actually a bitch. I actually hated her.
What is she like? What
She
is
like
that?
shot the girl. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, the girl that like, um. Oh, I thought you were talking about the one that hooked up with like she cheated on her or something.
Yeah, no, her. Not yeah.
Not the girl she
It
cheated on her with. Like, who's the girl? What color hair? The
it
blonde
was
hair?
it was like a brown a darker skinned girl. Like I don't you don't
What was it?
remember who I'm talking about.
What
That
was
I
her
mean, I guess
name?
that just shows how forgettable this
Yeah,
Yeah,
movie
I
yeah.
is.
was I was
But
Oh
actually
yes,
just about to
yes.
say
Yeah, she was actually fucking asshole.
it's
yeah,
One of like she's just such a dickhead and like a troublemaker the whole movie.
I know. Yeah, a couple like just random trivia, I guess. The main girl was played by the same girl who played Rue in Hunger Games, which I thought was kind of crazy. I don't know if you guys watched Hunger Games or Joe. All right, I guess we're having some technical difficulties here. Just give me one sec. Um, but I'll keep talking. Uh, the movie reminded me a lot of Among Us, which I thought was awesome because I love Among Us. Um, hold on, let me just see if I can get these guys back in here. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's happening right now, but um,
Matt?
yeah, there
I
you
don't
are.
know. Yeah, my laptop just bugged out. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just talking about how the movie reminded me of Among Us, and there was just an awkward
kinda
silence for a
did.
little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, both movies are kind of Among Us-esque if you
Yeah.
think about it.
I think the thing is, like, obviously, a million times better.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the ultimate stakes. Like, it's one thing to have like a killer among you, but actually, you know what? I'll save that talk for.
Yeah, save that.
Yeah, I'll save that.
But yeah, no, I was saying, I don't know if you guys heard me, but the main girl was played by the girl who played Rue in Hunger Games. I was saying.
I haven't seen.
Oh
Hunger
wow!
Games, so
Oh, that's another random one. Oh, but Joe, I don't know if you caught this or not, but Joe was saying that the guy, what's his name, Joe? Greg.
Right.
Greg is the villain in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Ronan.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I didn't know that until after, but that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that's so random. Yeah.
He was good though.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
fine,
I
I
mean,
guess.
all the performances weren't bad. Just like I just didn't like fuck with the like twist ending. Like I thought the script was really good. Like I thought the characters were like pretty good, but just I didn't really like the plot and like them and not having a killer just kind of takes half the fun. It's like, oh, like who is it? Who is it? And like there's just no fucking killer. Just kind of
Yeah. But also, like, that's kind of the only way that makes sense. Because why would someone just kill someone?
well,
Like,
no,
Yeah.
like
you
I'm
know?
sure like if they
Yeah.
did kill them, there's obviously a
Well,
reason.
if there was a killer at the end of this, like it would have like no like why would you watch this movie when you could watch like Scream?
Yeah,
isn't that the same
exactly.
type of premise?
Yeah.
Like why like so if it didn't have that ending, it would literally just be like the most generic like cash grab horror movie ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, but I was gonna say something about it, right? It just I forgot what I was
Yeah, if you think of it, but I was gonna talk a little bit about my favorite character quickly. I don't know if you guys even have one because
No.
they're pretty forgettable. But I actually liked you're not gonna know her when I say her, but the girl Alice played by Rachel Sennett.
Is that the
She was
one
the
that has the
one
podcast?
I don't know. But she was the one that kind of was just agreeing with everything. Like whenever there
Yeah,
was a new
her.
point,
Yeah,
she was like, yeah, yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
That's the
I
one that like they made fun of her podcast. She started crying.
oh yes, yes,
I
that's
actually did
true.
like her too.
She
I
was
thought she was like,
funny.
man, yeah, she was funny. Like she didn't think she knew the guy for like 2 weeks, and she just brought him to the house in like a
Yeah.
night. But
Yeah,
that's
it was
like that's
funny.
how like some girls our age act. Like that's how they are.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why I enjoyed her, I guess. Apparently she's really good in some other movie that I haven't seen, but I'm gonna have to check her out some more. I forget what it is, but girls love it apparently. So do you guys even have a favorite character or no? I understand if you
I
don't.
mean, I like B, I guess the best.
The main.
Pete Davidson.
Yeah, Pete. I mean, Pete was in it for like 10 minutes.
But I mean, not that like I was like leaving this.
No, yeah, no one was really like, holy
It's
shit,
like
like I
my
need a
favorite
fucking
character.
B tattoo.
It's just like if I had to pick somebody, I guess like him. It's not like he did
Yeah,
anything groundbreaking. He's just Pete Davidson pretty much.
yeah. Um, yeah, and then my favorite scene I thought was like the basketball court kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually kind of far. I'm not gonna lie.
That
You
was a good
piece of
scene.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah, because it was just like it's so unexpected that she just
yeah,
murders him,
Yeah.
and it kind of makes you think like, damn, maybe like she's the murderer.
yeah. She's
Yeah.
one of
But
the back.
yeah, I don't know if any other scene stuck out.
I mean,
It's not the end scene, but I mean, yeah, it definitely stuck out. But maybe not for the best reasons. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
what did you give this movie overall?
I gave it when I saw it 2 weeks ago. I gave it a 3 out of 5
Mhm.
stars or a 6 out of 10. And now that we're talking about it more, and now that I watched the thing, I feel like it's kind of more like a 2.5.
Yeah, I
But
agree. I originally gave it a 3, but the more like I like talked about it and like talking to you guys, and being more towards a 2.5.
I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd. I mean, as far as like on the enjoyment meter for me, it was like a 1 out of 5. Like I kind of like was zoning out a lot. but like in terms of like critically, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. You know, like so I just gave it a 2 out of 5. I thought that was fine.
Yeah, it was technically it was well made. There was some unique things about it. I forgot to mention, but I liked how most of the movie was lit by either glow sticks or phones, which was cool. Like
Yeah.
when they're in the dark, it's something that you wouldn't typically see unless you're doing a movie like this, you know? So it seemed like they cared at least a bit, but it just overall didn't come together for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we wouldn't recommend that, but I'm excited to talk about this next movie, which is Dragon Ball Super Superhero, directed by Hetsuro Kodama. And Joe, since you like know more about Dragon Ball, can you give maybe a little plot breakdown
Yeah.
of what
I'll
this?
lead the dance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a gigantic Dragon Ball Z fan. I mean, I've been watching it since like probably early high school. So this, I was really excited for this movie, and the plot is basically, one of the critiques of lots of the Dragon Ball stuff is that it's very focused on Goku and Vegeta. So this movie has Gohan and Piccolo lead the action, and it's pretty much like I don't want to say reinventing, like it's pretty much reestablishing Gohan and Piccolo coming into like the Dragon Ball universe on like a relevant level because they're like kind of far behind. And what they do in this movie is they pretty much give them a villain to fight, and the villain is made by the Red Ribbon Army, and they make the androids, and they make have made androids in the past. So they pretty much just get like the son of the Doctor from the original show, who either the son or the grandson, I forget, but
I think it was a grandson.
yeah, I think it was the grandson. And he comes in, and they pretty much ask him to like they give the Red Ribbon Army gives him a bunch of money to make like a new new androids and a new like Cell, which Cell is like the ultimate android, and pretty much the main villain of this movie is like a rehashed Cell that's like way less interesting.
Yeah, I know one thing that a lot of people are complaining about, or that I've heard, because a couple of my friends watched Dragon Ball also, and I was talking to them about it, was they changed up the animation a little bit. It's kind of like a 2D, 3D hybrid.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you like that?
I liked it. I mean,
I liked it a lot.
I'm not a huge like I'm not really I don't really watch Dragon Ball. This is honestly my first like experiencing first time like watching Dragon Ball, and I thought I liked it. I mean, maybe it's because like I've never really watched the anime in like a 2D setting. Like I understand a lot of fans have grown up with it in 2D, so to see it in 3D is kind of weird. Like I'm sure like if I saw like this is like for me my big anime is One Piece.
Yeah.
Like if they made like a 3D One Piece film, I kind of be like, but like if it looked good, I wouldn't really.
I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I thought this movie.
It definitely, I could see why that opinion was like gathered by some people, because compared to the other stuff they released, like this is kind of like this movie was kind of like along with like another set of movies starting back from Battle of the Gods, which came out, and I want to say like 2015 or 2016. This is kind of like a new wave of the movies, and all of them have used that kind of 3D
2D one.
2D blend, yeah, because it's a movie, and it's got a bigger budget, and they definitely used it more in this film. Like there are shots like that in the other films, but this film definitely had the most, which I could see why people thought of that. But I still thought it was good. I mean, it never really detracted from me at any point. Like I thought it looked great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoyed the animation, but I also hadn't seen any Dragon Ball before, and usually people are just if something changes, like they're gonna complain. You know,
yeah.
people like to
Yeah.
stick with what they know.
Yeah, well, that's
But
part of the like. Not that I'm gonna try not to get too far down the road of like what else is in Dragon Ball, but I also kind of have to, because like you know
It was not gonna make
this is what
sense.
the movie. Yeah, it's like the context.
yeah,
Of the
feel
movie,
free, feel free.
But well, I'm gonna get into it without going like too down the rabbit hole as far. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna go deep, but yeah, like that's kind of like I still enjoy what they come out with, and I think. And the main reason why people watch this type of stuff is the fights and the characters, but they're not like every time they come back with the characters, like it's not the most different stuff. Like it's pretty much they take on a new villain, they get new power ups, and that's exactly what this movie is. I mean, it just they take on a new villain and they get new power ups, and Yeah, like and a lot of people critique that. Z, the original show, which was late 80s, early 90s, like it has a great plot. Like the plot, it not in the final arc of the show. Like the final arc, they just kind of have like a villain show up and that's about it. Like he like is like incumbent in the Earth, but like before that, they have really well thought out, like gripping plots. It's probably the peak of the show right there around then. But since then, I mean, they just really haven't been able to recapture that energy, and sometimes it's just lazy at times. Like in this movie, I thought it was lazy. I mean, they just kind of just rehashed like the Red Ribbon Army just creates another cell, and that's the villain for the movie. And the cell isn't like as nearly like you guys haven't seen the original Cell, but he talks and his dialogue is really good, and he's a really menacing villain that transforms and changes and has a personality. But in this, he was just the big boss for them to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't like how Cell, like, that was one of my complaints about the villain, the movie, is, like, I didn't like how they just, I don't know anything about Cell, like,
He's an android.
Yeah, but, like, I didn't like how they just kind of made it, like, he had no, like, it would have been, I like when villains have personality.
He was just the boss.
Yeah, it was just literally, like, he just yelled, like, what are they called, the androids?
The androids.
Yeah, Gamma 1 and 2.
Yeah, they had a bit more personality.
I thought they were pretty cool. It was honestly one of my like more favorite. Like I like those characters better, and I thought the designs were really cool with the idea of like superhero. And they kind of look took the like what people thought superheroes looked like in the 40s. Like I don't know if you've ever seen like that's the vibe I got from those characters. But yeah, I think it was a huge like missed opportunity for not having any sort of personality. Just literally like what the fucking android that just speak and yell.
Yeah, wait.
Cell was just a brute.
Yeah.
What were those two guys' names again? I forget.
Gamma and something.
Gamma 1 and Gamma 2.
Yeah, I also liked their design, and I liked how it was kind of like tongue in cheek with the words whenever they like made an attack, and Piccolo like noticed it somehow. He's like, "Why are there words when they were attacking?" Do you remember that? And I like how that kind of showed that it didn't take itself serious. Like it was very funny, also.
Yeah, a
Which I
lot
don't
of
know if
anime is like that, where they don't really take themselves
Yeah.
too serious. Like some anime,
You have to. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
like-
cartoon.
it's like about Saiyans that like level up and blow up people. Like it's not. It knows it.
Yeah.
It's like the concept's ridiculous. So, and you see that even with a lot of movies, like now, like if the concepts are kind of bonkers, like they don't take itself too seriously, and I feel like that's how people like it's more enjoyable that way, rather than taking itself way too seriously and it just comes off weird.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Joe. You were mentioning how Z has like very good storylines and plot and whatnot.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with this was how many plot holes there were. I feel
Yeah.
like it's at a point in the Dragon Ball lore where there's just like so much. They kept pushing it higher and higher. Now, like you just get three wishes. The Saiyans could
Yeah.
basically do anything, and they
Yeah.
have to like think of reasons as to why Gohan can't just
Your
or Piccolo can't just be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Goku, like I wish for you to come
Yeah.
here," you know?
Yeah, your gripes right there is exactly why there's like infighting in the fan base. Like there's people who have the same exact viewpoint that you have where they're like this is just like gone like off the rails. And I acknowledge that it has, but like I've just kind of gotten past that and I enjoy it for what it is and like I'm such a big fan that like whenever they throw the action on screen or get whenever they do all that stuff like I go nuts for it. Like I love this shit like and so even though it has those problems, like one thing I thought that was like a really stupid waste of time in this film is Piccolo goes to this character named Dende, who's like Earth's kind of guardian, and he hangs above Earth on like his little platform, and he just watches over it. He's his predecessor's name is Kami, which literally translates to God in Japanese. So like he's pretty much the god of Earth, and he goes up to him and he tells him about there's something that happens in this past arc in Dragon Ball Z where the characters go to the god, the kami of a different planet, and they ask him to like unlock their potential or whatever. And he goes to him, and he's like, "Hey, can you unlock my potential?" And then there's like, "Oh, I'm not old enough for that." And then they just go down a whole nother rabbit hole where they use the Dragon Balls. But I don't know why they didn't just like have Piccolo's potential unlocked because that would have been something. Although it's something they've done before, it would have been fresh because they haven't touched that since like the late 80s when it was like that arc in Dragon Ball Z. So it would have been at least like something different.
Yeah.
But instead they just go down like the Dragon Ball rabbit hole, which is like if you collect all the Dragon Balls, you can wish for whatever you want, and they go down that way. But I don't know why they didn't just go with the first angle. Like that would have been a completely acceptable answer as somebody who knows like what they show a little flashback like if you haven't seen it because obviously there's going to be some people going into this movie who haven't like watched all of it, who maybe they're coming with their friends or whatever. But yeah, I don't know why they went down that whole rabbit hole, and it also just adds like apparently like in the newer arcs of the show, the newer arcs in the manga that's ahead, like the most ahead, they've done that also. So they're like done it twice in like the past like product they put out. So yeah, I don't know. So I agree with you. Like there's plot holes. Yeah.
Yes, there's like there was another point at the end where they were it was like the big battle and the Max Cell or Cell Max, whatever his name is, when he's like
Max, yeah.
huge, and then I forget who says it to Piccolo, but they're like, "Oh, remember that time you grew big?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
that was
he's like, he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that," and then just like grows big to fight him.
No,
It's
listen.
just it's
That's when that happened. I also said that, but they could have like that him growing big. Like he hasn't done that. That was another moment that kind of like similar to the last one that just like it just didn't need to tie itself in a knot. But Piccolo hasn't used that move since the original Dragon Ball manga, which is like even older than Dragon Ball Z. It's like when Goku is a kid, like early on Dragon Ball. He hasn't used that since then, and they could have just had him like do it. Like
Yeah.
they didn't need to like say that, like oh yeah, I forgot I could do that. Like he should have just done it, and it would have just been like cool, like seeing him do it. But I don't know why they like added that in there. It was stupid,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Like it would have just been better if like he just did it without even like I don't even know anything about Dragon
Yeah.
Ball, but like I feel like I would have rather them not. I don't know. It just makes it stupid that he's just like, oh, I forgot how to do that. Like it would have been better if he just did it instead.
Yeah, the thing about the whole Dragon Balls giving you a wish is like it's kind of like opening Pandora's box. Like once you do that, then there's
Yeah.
always going to be the comments of, "Oh, why can't you just wish for anything? Why can't you just do this?"
Yeah.
And they literally had three wishes, and I just don't understand like what was Piccolo's goal? Was it to defeat those two guys? So why couldn't he just be like, "I wish those guys were defeated"?
I think because
You know?
he probably wants to do it himself. It's more of
Yeah.
like a pride thing. That's what I
Yeah.
got from it.
Well, they kind of have like the Z Fighters, like kind of have like Z Fighters is kind of like like I don't want to compare it to the Avengers, but like that's what like the team called
Yeah.
itself, like the Z Fighters. Like they kind of like there'd be times in the show where they could like tag team up on a character, like when they're fighting Cell, like they could all theoretically like just gang up on Cell and like try and jump them. But they like because they're like fighters and martial arts, and that's like what the show's and like kind of centered around, a bit like that's where it kind of gets its like origins and inspiration from. Like they don't do that, so it could be playing into that, but it's still kind of like but they wouldn't have had to go through that if they just had Piccolo have this full potential unlocked. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why they just didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like because it would have been a perfectly fine explanation. Which, like, because you're not looking for, like, some elaborate explanation. Like, the lore is kind of busted as it is. So, like, I don't know why they just didn't do that. Because then they work themselves into what you brought up, Matt. Like these plot holes, yeah.
Yeah. Also, just now that we're on the topic of the wishes, I wanted to mention like how they sexualized Bulma so
Oh,
much. She like
yeah.
wished that her ass could be fatter or something, and then like wished to have less wrinkles. And there was just like these crazy cut, like one of the scenes they were all fighting, and it just cuts, and it's like full screen Bulma's ass just shaking back and forth. Nothing happens, and then it cuts directly back to the scene we were in.
Yeah.
Like, is
They've
it like
done
that on the
that.
show?
Yeah, they've done that, but I'm gonna be like, that was probably like one of my most annoyed things. Maybe it was done better in the English dub. I don't know, but I didn't see. We saw it in English sub, and yeah, they've done it in the show before, but it was done in a much better, less egregious fashion than that. Like that one, like what you were talking about, Matt. Like that one shot. Like we're not even kidding. Like everybody listening, like there's literally like a scene, and they just cut to Bulma's ass, just face into the camera,
Just shaking,
just
yeah.
shaking. Like I was like,
And
what
it's just
the hell?
cuts
Like Like it's just it was funny to us because it was just out of nowhere, but it's also like what the like why even do that?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah, and I
didn't
feel like
It's
that's
more of
kinda
like
like
a
a s
Japanese thing.
that's like
I
a
feel like.
stereotype in, like, anime, I feel like, just having these overly sexualized
Oh
women, like,
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
yeah.
isn't Nami kinda like that in One Piece where
yeah.
randomly they
Nami and
just gave her, like
Yeah.
Like they have
the
like a time jump, and like they all must have just been on birth control because they get giant tits out of nowhere. And some of the scenes, like I know, like later on in the show, like in the beginning, I feel like Nami isn't like sexualized. Would you agree, Joe? Like it's more like
It's
she's
not
just like the girl of the crew. Like,
She
people have crushes on her, but it's not. It's nothing more than that. And then once they go past,
well, it was
the
also
first
more of a kid show.
yeah, that's true. It was more geared towards kids, and now that it's a little bit geared towards an older crowd, they tend to do more like sexualized things with the outfits and stuff. But
I didn't find the Bulma humor funny at all.
no, I
And,
thought
and
it was
usually it's
stupid.
kind of like cheeky, kind of cartoony type of like stuff like that. But they went like, I mean, I guess like the creators of Akira Toriyama, he must have been like horny as fuck when he was.
yeah, I feel like the animators just love animating stuff like that, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
guess. Yeah.
It's also like the culture there in Japan. I feel like it's very big, like the way they sexualize a lot of cartoons, and it's because it's across all anime. Honestly. Most anime, I
Yeah,
feel like they have some sort of not like listen. There's scenes in like One Piece that I find really questionable, but like there's no like I don't know. It's not like part of the plot or the show. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't like add or really
Just
take
like,
away anything from it. It's just like
what's the term? Like slapstick, just like just for a quick
yeah,
laugh humor.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
This is just I had a couple questions though, just because I was new to Dragon Ball that I was hoping you could
Sure.
answer for
Yeah.
me, Joe.
Yeah. No, I could probably
Uh,
definitely answer that.
what was the deal? What do those senzu beans do?
Oh,
They
bro.
didn't they didn't really
So
explain it.
tapping into your little Pandora's box like thing you said earlier. So get this. So you eat one of those and you're completely just like restored of like anything wrong with you at all. Like you could be like dying.
So
and just
basically,
taking
it's kind of like
you're just 100%.
it's kind of like a chug jug.
Yeah,
Movie.
yeah. Speaking perfect timing with Dragon Ball coming to Fortnite.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, I
no,
was
so
gonna
it just
ask about
completely
that.
heals you. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then they just like happen to just to make like bigger stakes. They like drop one and it just disappears down a hole. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we only have one now.
But
But
that's just another example of them working into these rabbit holes, like, like they
yeah,
just they don't have to like touch some of these things, and usually they don't. But this one had a lot. But not to shift the direction and oh, actually, you had more questions for me. I'll save that. But what was your next
yeah.
question then? Yeah.
What is there like an outline of like what are the actual powers of the Saiyans? Because sometimes they shoot lasers out of their hands.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just like beating them up hand to hand combat, and they could
Yeah.
fly. Like what are their power? What's the power set?
So it starts off like they kind of like are just like super like I guess like superhumans, they could jump around and fly around and like they tap into like ki, like an energy source, to like do stuff and they train and like get stronger. But the thing is Goku and Vegeta and Gohan is half Saiyan, his mother is a human and his father is Goku, who's a Saiyan. But the Saiyans are like they come from another planet, the planet Vegeta, which is named after Vegeta's father, Vegeta's the character in the movie. And they like when they're there, like they have tails and stuff, and like if they look at the moon, like they turn into these giant monkeys. But actually, that's too far down the rabbit hole. But to the power source question, they basically like see this is another problem. Like you're so far down the line, like with Dragon Ball, they're just on like power number like form number 52 or whatever. They just keep doing new form, and then it just kind of loses its luster, but they start off with like they could go Super Saiyan and they could shoot blasts from and some of them have their own moves like Goku and Gohan and like his family uses the Kamehameha and
Yeah.
Vegeta uses Big Bang Attack and Final Flash and they're pretty much just like superhuman martial artists and they develop their own moves and they shoot shit. Like it's nothing too like deeply insane. Like it just kind of happens. Like the Saiyans kind of have a little bit of a dynamic because they're stronger than like normal humans. Like there's some normal humans in the group, like the character Krillin, who's like a police officer. He's bald, is a normal human.
Yeah.
There's an android, Android 18. She's in it, like she's an android. They have like their own kind of power, I guess. And then Goku and Vegeta are Saiyans, and Gohan is half Saiyan. And Piccolo is a Namekian. He's from this other planet called Planet Namek. They kind of have some of their own moves. You know, they could regenerate limbs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not like they don't get too deep into it. Like it just kind of progresses. But yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
figured
just
it was
yeah,
just like they could
yeah,
write them to do whatever, and no one's really
yeah,
gonna say anything.
yeah.
So I have
Um,
just about the forms. It was making me think about like because you said they can get a little like overused and it kind of takes
Yeah.
away its luster. Like one thing that just came to mind is like One Piece. I know it's different,
Yeah,
but
it's not
Luffy,
as far down.
yeah,
This Dragon Ball is way down. Like I'm trying to think right now, like how many forms. Like it's definitely like
yeah,
Goku's like I think on form 10, like at least.
yeah, like over 1,100 whatever episodes they're on, and over like 1,100 chapters. Luffy like only has five.
Five, yeah.
Five. He just got his fifth.
Just got his fifth, yeah. And the show's been running since
99, I
98,
believe.
97,
99.
somewhere 98, 97, 99, one of those years. So it's, I mean, considering it's been that many years, like 5 is like each time we've had a new one, it's felt like a big deal, you know.
Yeah.
Like when it comes around. But with Dragon Ball, actually, Dragon Ball, the last form they gave Goku, Ultra Instinct, was really well received among fans. Like it was something different, really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, but also the stuff before that is a little bit redundant. You know, it loses some of its shine because
Yeah.
they do it so often.
But yeah, and then like also, just like because I've never really seen anime movies, and probably the next one, honestly, that I'm gonna watch is
One Piece.
One Piece Red. So One Piece is a film. One Piece and Dragon Ball are distributed by the same company, so they have a film coming out in I think
Is it
the
Film
fall.
Red?
It's called One Piece Red.
Yeah.
It already released in Japan and France, I believe.
Yeah, we gotta wait.
We gotta wait till the fall. But I was actually sent Joe something on Instagram. Because Matt, you know how you said that Dragon Ball was number one in the box office right now?
yeah, at least in the U.S.
In
Yeah.
the US, yeah. So One Piece recently came out in Japan. So in 5 days, it made like 29 million in Japan, which like I know it doesn't seem like a lot with the US, but to put it in comparison, the Dragon Ball Z movie over a 60-day span made 17 million. Not taking away like obviously Dragon Ball Z did phenomenal in the
Yeah.
box office. Like I'm just interested to see how One Piece is gonna do in the US.
Well, listen, I'm a not to cut you off, but I'm
Yeah.
a Dragon Ball Z fan. But One Piece is way bigger than like, well, not way bigger, but at least in Japan, like it's the best selling thing like ever over there. I mean, it's like it's.
I think it's like
yeah.
the number 2 selling comic book of all time.
So yeah, that's expected. That,
Right
like,
behind
you know, ran
Superman.
it over, you know.
But what's crazy too
Yeah.
about it is that Superman's been around for like
A while.
like over 100 years.
50s,
No,
40s.
no, even early, like the 30s and 20s, I think, right?
Yes.
I don't know,
Let me see.
but
I'm
maybe.
gonna look.
I don't even know.
I was
I'm
gonna
getting a
say
little
though,
off topic. Yeah, you're good.
do you like I said, it was number one box office in the U.S. It made I think 20.1 million this weekend, which is a lot for an opening weekend.
Yeah.
Do you think that, honest question, do you think that it's Dragon Ball's collab with Fortnite might have helped those numbers?
100%.
Probably, yeah.
No,
Honestly.
anybody who says no would be lying. I mean, Fortnite is like, whether you like it or not, or you like hate on Fortnite, like me, I'm kind of just like indifferent about it. I play it. It's like one of the most popular games like ever created. I mean, it probably is the most popular game ever created. I mean, everybody knows who has heard of it. I mean, I remember like Lady Gaga on Twitter just like tweeted out like, "What is Fortnite?" Like, and got like 100K like retweets. Like, you know, it's like. I mean, Drake and Ninja were, you know, it's you know, and just the amount of like collabs it has is just unprecedented, you know. So yeah, it definitely helped it.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like that Dragon Ball and Fortnite collab was my first encounter with Dragon Ball, technically, because I never watched any of it before and I never played any of the games. So that like introduced me to it, and that probably introduced a ton of people to Dragon Ball, you know?
Oh yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, no, they're definitely profiting off of what they did. I mean, anybody who comes in contact with Fortnite is gonna both sides are gonna be very happy after it's done. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Like there's like especially with these skins. I mean, and then Naruto, they're probably making so much money. I mean, it's
Oh
probably
yeah, I forgot
ridiculous.
they do Naruto too.
Yeah. I wanted if I could cut in, but I'm curious to what you guys thought of like the fight scene at the end of the movie and just the fight scenes overall. Because Dragon Ball is like praised for like having some of the best action in like anime. I was just curious to see what you guys thought of it. I thought it was epic.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
really enjoyed it. I thought it was sick. It was
Yeah.
like so over the top, but like in the best way possible.
Yeah, it like throws out like reality, but especially in this movie, I mean, they were doing like galaxy shit like at the end. I mean, like
Yeah, like he
it was
pulled up like a
insane, some
black
of the
hole.
visuals. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nuts. I mean, it honestly, like Dragon Ball has like so many scenes that gave me chills. Like the end of this movie gave me chills. Like it was so epic. I mean, Gohan's new form was really cool too. Which, yeah. Well, what did you think of it, Matt? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought like I liked how over the top and stylized it was, but I don't have anything to compare it to, you know. But I did really
Yeah,
enjoy it for what it was, and
yeah,
I liked how it was kind of like they would keep pushing out more power, and it just kept going and like wouldn't stop. It was cool. I liked it, but at the same time, the only problem with the fight scenes is like there's basically no stakes. Like
yeah, yeah. You know what's
Piccolo got his arm chopped off. I was like, damn, like they're gonna
well, he
violate
could
him, but
regenerate. He could
yeah.
regenerate. Yeah,
Well, I didn't know that, but
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I thought. Like, wow, they're
Well,
gonna
that's why
kill
they
him.
had it
Like,
happen to him. You know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I was saying to Joe, if I do ever decide to watch anime, I might start with Dragon Ball because I like how similar. I know you mentioned the Avengers before. It is kind of like superheroes, and I'm really into superhero stuff. And
Yeah.
I just like all the characters. Like they're very interesting
Yeah.
characters,
Well,
even from
If
I'm
you
curious if you guys would have gripped more to this movie hearing the English dub. Not that the English sub is very good as well. Like a lot of people like the English sub, but the English dub is like it's the same voice actor since like the 90s and stuff like that. And people really liked them a lot. And I'm curious to see if you guys would have gripped more to the characters having heard them for the first time. Because like Sean Schemmel, who's the English voice of Goku, is like regarded as like everybody views him as like the main voice of Goku. You know.
yeah.
I'm curious to see how you guys would have thought of it.
I
But the sub is great as well. The sub is very good.
I think Matt definitely would have
Yeah, Matt, you definitely
not
would.
nothing
Yeah.
against you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like I watch anime like so I was used to the subtitles and like the crazy like I don't know, but it can if you're never really not if you don't really watch anime a lot, it really can take you out of it for a little bit
yeah.
because it's very distracting at
I
some
mean,
points.
I'm used to subtitles, but I feel like the way that they talk in Japanese, like it's very over the top and exaggerated. And it's
Yeah.
kind of there was kind of points where I was like laughing just based on how they said certain things, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel it's done like that on purpose. Like
Yeah.
it's the style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I wanted to talk about my favorite character though, because this is my first experience with most of them, and it has to be Carmine. He was amazing.
Carmine,
He,
bro.
the
I mean,
Italian. No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
But what was his deal? Has he appeared before or no?
No,
Wait, who
no.
the fuck
He was
is
just
Carmine?
there. He was the guy with like the kind of Jimmy Neutron esque hair.
Oh, that the
Yeah.
princess dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy was kind of ridiculous. That was actually one of my complaints about the movie. They actually spent a lot of time like trying to build up the villains in this movie, only for them to be just like
Yeah, like
plot fodder.
I thought they
you
were gonna
know.
be in the like
Yeah, that was something that like really I want to say dragged down because I still left the theater like really happy, but they spent a lot of time on those guys and like they really had no payoff. They were just there for like just for the movie to have go its course. Good guys beating the bad guys.
Yeah. And for my actual favorite character though, I felt like really drawn to Piccolo for some reason. I thought I was
Yeah,
gonna like Gohan, but I feel like they kind of made him like a little bit of a bitch in this. He's just like
yeah.
studying and
Yeah.
not too
Well,
much.
I wanted to touch on that also. Like that's a good point to segue onto Piccolo and Gohan. Like this movie, this for me, this was my favorite thing about this movie. That they because Goku and Vegeta just overshadow like a lot of what's happening, and they really focused on Gohan and Piccolo, and they have a relationship as like Piccolo is kind of Gohan's mentor because Goku's always out somewhere fighting and stuff like that, and Piccolo trains Gohan, and they kind of tap into that again with them as like adults. and it was heartwarming to watch for me because I grew up with these characters, and to see them as like adults now, and I'm an adult now, and they're like kind of like interacting how they would before, but as like different people, like I thought that was really well done, and like to see them get their spotlight, and for you who just watched to see Piccolo, and Piccolo is a really good character. He has a lot of great fights and great moments, but he's just been kind of in the shadow recently. So I'm glad that you liked him a lot because these are two characters that like have been waiting to get their shine for a minute.
Yeah, I also liked he wasn't in it for much, but I liked Beerus a lot. I didn't think I would like him, but for the small
Yeah,
time he was
Beerus
in,
seemed really like
Beerus is like probably one of like the more favorite new characters of Dragon. Like probably honestly probably the favorite. Like I guess there's some other ones probably in contention, but of the newest characters they've introduced, I mean Beerus is pretty iconic. He's just kind of like the sleepy god of destruction. Like he's stronger than Goku. Like he's stronger than like a lot of like you got he doesn't fight in this film because it's kind of a small focus on Goku and Vegeta who are over with him. You only see him really for a little bit, but he's a character. Like he's funny and he's also really cool to watch. You don't get to see him.
yeah, they kind of wrote his character perfect for this world because anytime they could be like, oh, Beerus can't be here because he would like destroy the villain, they could just be like, oh, he's sleeping. That's why he's not here.
Yeah, he's sleep, but that's what happens. Like he wakes up every like X period of time, like a long period of time, like and wakes up and then starts destroying shit, and then like
Yeah.
then he goes back to sleep. But now he's like appeased because like I think it's because he likes Earth's food a lot. That's why he doesn't. He's more chilled out now. I forget. But now he's like chill. But yeah, no, that's another.
So he
great
debuted as
character.
a villain originally.
Yeah, in the first, like, these newer run of Dragon Ball movies, the first one was introducing him. It was called Battle of the Gods. And Goku becomes, like, Super Saiyan God and fights Beerus as, like, the main premise of the movie. And it introduces Beerus. But he's been, like, reoccurring through, like, every movie since then and in the anime. Like they set him up and, like, have given him his run.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why don't you guys tell me who you like the most in the movie? Curious.
There you go.
Honestly, I really liked Gamma too. I don't know, I liked his like personality and I thought it was like I really loved the design
Yeah,
and
the
like
laugh.
I like when they realized that like they're kind of the villains. Not like that them directly, but they're because they think they're the heroes in their eyes. And then they start to realize like obviously that's not the case.
Yeah.
And like Goku and I mean I'm not big with Dragon Ball, but they seem like they were like Goku kind of reminds me of like a Luffy, like Naruto esque
Yeah.
type.
Goku and Luffy both eat like shit tons of food.
Yeah.
That's like a trope between them.
Mhm.
But yeah, you don't really get to, that was why I wish I took you guys came and watched the last movie because it was like yeah it would have been a better introduction because it just jumps right in.
To the action,
It's just
yeah.
an action fest.
And this is Dragon Ball
And it-
Battle of the Gods.
well, actually, that was the first movie of the new run. The last one was actually called Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Oh, well,
Yeah. But yeah, I was hoping you got like I was hoping, but this movie went for something different. I'm glad it did. You want them to try and do different things. Yeah. And my favorite characters, I mean, I love all the characters mainly, but there's a thing called fusion in Dragon Ball, and two of the characters, Goten and Trunks, fuse using the fusion dance, and they become Gotenks. And Gotenks is like one of my favorite fusions, so it was cool to see him again, to see him make an appearance, and yeah, I also just really like to focus on Gohan and Piccolo and seeing them like kind of, as older, wiser characters, kind of interact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of my favorite scene, I liked the time that they spent on that like side planet. I don't know if it was like Beerus's home or whatever, where like Goku and Vegeta were
forget the name
sparring.
of it.
Yeah, I liked the interactions between the characters there, and I felt like that was my if I had to choose
Yeah.
one scene, it would be that.
Yeah, that was actually really chill to watch because it kind of provided like a glimpse into like the future of Dragon Ball, like kind of because like they just introduced that one character there, Broly, and they're all kind of like that's where they like train. They train with Beerus and Whis. Whis is actually stronger than Beerus. That guy with the staff who like then has like a fruity
Oh yeah,
personality.
he was weird, yeah.
Yeah. He's stronger than Beerus, but they're training there, and it was cool. Like having just watched the last piece of Dragon Ball media we watched was the last movie. It was cool to see them like get a little glimpse into what they're doing there, and it was also cool at the end of the movie that Vegeta beats Goku because like Vegeta fans always get triggered with how much like Goku just like wins everything. So yeah, I guess that was a little nod for them that he beat them him in a training session. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys go ahead.
How about am I rating it?
favorite
No,
scene.
your
Oh,
favorite scene.
I mean, probably the end battle.
Yeah,
Go
I mean,
fucking
yeah.
over the top.
Yeah,
Not, well, like in the best way. Like
Gohan. Yeah. Well, the same scene you were just talking
Yeah.
about, but Gohan. It's pretty much the final battle with everybody. And I also liked how they featured all the other Z fighters because sometimes they don't really bring them in, but they did for this, and it was cool to see everybody again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gohan is like pretty much like pick like Cell Max, like similar to what happens in Dragon Ball Z. This is another rehash, but it was still cool for the movie, and it was cool. But they pretty much used the same way to get Gohan to power up as in the Z. He sees somebody that like he likes a lot, like in danger, and he just snaps, like, and achieves like his untapped power. Like Gohan like has like this untapped power, and that scene was like that happening. Like they pretty much have Piccolo like about like getting his ass beat by Cell.
Isn't he supposed to be like more powerful than Goku?
Gohan, yeah, like that's how they set him up. As to where he stands now, who knows? It's like so far fetched at this point, like who knows where everybody stands.
I'm
But
assuming he's
originally, yeah, like when Gohan like is in Z, at one point he's the most powerful character in the show. Like he defeats the original Cell. Like
yeah.
he defeats Cell and becomes Super Saiyan 2, which is like he was the first person to do it. To hit Super Saiyan 2, and he beats Cell. So yeah, but yeah, that end fight scene. I mean, with Cell and Piccolo, and like Piccolo's like grabbing him, and they set up like a tag attack,
Yeah.
and Gohan like uses this one attack like special beam. It's something else in Japanese. It's like Mankako Sapo or something like that. But he uses cannon for the first time and kills Cell. I mean, and then you see like the beam like shoot off into space. I mean, the visuals were epic. I mean, I thought like that animation during that stretch where Gohan turns in, it's called Rage Gohan, his new form. When he turns into that, I thought that was like some of the best animation I've ever seen. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I did like the ending, like the ending fight also, but it was just kind of a little bit too much of just like random, like insane shit going on
Yeah.
that I didn't connect with it as much. But yeah, in terms of my rating though, I would give it 3 stars again, so 6 out of 10. I feel like if I was more invested in the characters beforehand, then
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it more, and I still did enjoy it. It just that it didn't like strike as much of a chord with me, you know.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars as well. Um, I enjoyed the movie, and again, I think I would have enjoyed it more if I had like more of a investment in the show, or had like prior knowledge of because there's a lot of like plot stuff that they go over that if you don't watch the show, you probably kind of like there was a couple times I remember turning to you and be like, "What is
Yeah.
this? What is that?"
Yeah.
But overall I enjoyed it for it was like a fun action movie. So I give it 6 out of 10, 3 stars.
Yeah, I initially like if I were to give it a critical score, I'd give it a 3.5. But I actually upped it to a 4 just out of my own personal enjoyment. I actually watched it again. I watched it online and I appreciated it a lot more the second time. But that's just me. Is like if I were to put it on like an enjoyment meter, like I'd give it a 4 out of 5. But like critical, I'd give it like a critical score. I'd give it like a 3 or a 3.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure whenever the next one comes out, we'll probably all go to see it again. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that'll wrap up the Dragon Ball part. I wanted to talk about just some news, and mainly, I guess, with like we were mentioning before, just what's going on with Warner Brothers. So I guess to start, Ezra Miller apologized. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it up. I could quickly read what his statement was.
I mean, I don't really
Yeah, sure.
get
Yeah,
mad at
right.
what he said, honestly.
So he said, like, no, I'll just give like a little run. Like he's gotten arrested multiple times for grooming, um, aggravated assault, burglary, all this stuff. And then he says, having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I'm suffering complex mental health issues and have begun ongoing treatment. and that's it.
That's
That's
it.
his
Yeah.
that's his statement, and it's supposed to erase everything he did in the
Yep.
past
Yeah,
year.
forget.
You know what?
And
Honestly, it does. No, I'm just kidding.
and
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Like doesn't they couldn't give less of a fuck. They just want to release the
Yeah.
Flash and get their money,
Well, they're just too
which
far down the rabbit hole. The only reason they're even like if this was just like a if money wasn't involved, I mean they would have scrapped this.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't because it's done filming, right? I think it's done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been done.
Yeah,
for
I
a
mean,
while.
I mean they scrapped Batgirl when it was done filming, but
It was supposed to come originally. It was supposed to come out this July,
wow.
and oh no, am I wrong? Maybe. Oh yeah, this
Mm,
July, and Black Adam was August, I think.
Yeah.
well, at this point, it looks like it's not going to be out till 2024 because it's
Oh,
supposed to come out after Aquaman, and Aquaman just got delayed till
delayed, yeah.
December 2023.
Yeah.
So there's still going to be 2 more years of
No, I
of
think
tiptoeing around Ezra
Antics.
Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they're keeping that because that's why they filmed. Like they have those scenes with. You saw Ben Affleck came back to like.
Yeah, but the reason why they did that was because Aquaman was supposed to come out before The Flash, right?
No, originally it was gonna come out after. That's why Keaton was in it. Like was in the. There was supposed to be like a scene where Michael Keaton's Batman and Aquaman like met up or something, and like apparently it was like them teasing a new Justice League.
No, okay, yeah. So if they keep The Flash before Aquaman,
Yeah.
then Keaton will be Batman. So they could have kept the Keaton Aquaman scene if they wanted. They
Yeah,
didn't have
so
to
just
reshoot with
reshot it.
Affleck.
Yeah,
So they might have done that for no reason, which is like,
yeah, basically.
uh, and apparently they're having huge budget issues and they can only afford
or to
2
release
I heard
theatrical
that
releases.
actually dropped today. I think that news.
Yeah, it
like
did.
like I checked Twitter and I saw somebody said like Warner Brothers could only afford like I think
to release two
to release
films,
two
which
films
was
or something.
Don't Worry, Darling and Black Adam.
Yeah, I mean, what a
Yeah,
disaster.
it's honestly, and you feel so bad for the creators, especially with the
Yeah.
HBO Max stuff going on.
Yeah.
What they're doing is
Yeah.
there's these HBO Max exclusives, which or go straight to the service, and they don't see some of them don't see physical releases. Some of them, none of them are in
Yeah.
theaters. And if they're not doing well on the service, HBO Max is like, okay, we're just gonna take these off the service so that we don't have to pay residuals to the creators. So their
Yeah.
work is just gone forever,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just like terrible. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's hard to think anyone would want to work with Warner Brothers in the future.
But yeah, especially after this.
No, it's something that's crazy. I saw like something on Twitter today. It was like people involved with like Batgirl were like watching like these like lost tapes, like this like lost tape shit, like to like send the movie off before they're like deleted forever. It's like the
Yeah,
most dramatic shit.
they had a streaming, they had like
Yeah.
a last viewing party almost before they
Yeah.
locked.
Yeah, like before it's like gone forever. Like or
Yo, I know
something.
the directors of the movie came out and were talking about like, yeah, we tried when we found out it got canceled, we tried to go into the server and all like the whole movie was gone. So Warner Brothers just like took it off.
Actually,
That's
it's like the
sad.
Warner
That's
Brothers
actually
lore.
horrible.
Yeah. The Warner Brothers lore at this point is just growing. Like
Yeah,
the
it's
lost
crazy.
servers, like Ezra Miller's running around. Like who knows what the hell's going on?
Well, speaking of this, I don't know if you guys saw, they recently just named their Kevin Feige-esque person, like maybe like 2-3 hours
Person
ago.
who's gonna oversee like
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I did see
can't.
it. I'm not familiar with the guy.
I'm gonna look up his name. He has a lot of like really good
Dan
like
Lin.
Dan Lin. I know he was like a big producer on the Lego Batman movie.
I heard that's
I
good.
I heard is like
I've never seen it, but
Dan Lin. You said his name was?
Yeah, I mean to me this choice is just like I don't like it's not bad, it's not good. Like I don't really know. Like there's no one else that they would have picked and I would have been like, "Oh, he's better," you know.
Yeah. All right. So you want to see some of his producing titles?
Sure.
So they had the Lego Batman movie, both of the It's, Godzilla, the original Sherlock Holmes, Aladdin. Um,
Aladdin.
the live
Will
action.
Smith Aladdin.
Yeah.
Nice.
The new Haunted Mansion
Oh,
in 2023. He also produced the live action Death Note. So now,
Oh,
but that's not. I mean, but most of his superhero stuff, I mean, is a pretty good. I mean, honestly, it's actually
To me, the
Yeah,
biggest thing is oh, Joe, you could go ahead.
For the
uh,
Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, because both were like pretty good, like
um,
critically
yeah,
acclaimed movies. And then I guess the MonsterVerse
yeah,
movies. But he was also a producer on um there was like a what was the Justice League movie? They were like gonna shoot, like everything was ready, sets like actors and actresses signed contracts, like everything was ready. They were like a week away from filming and they ended up scrapping it. There's like pictures of
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. But
he was a producer on that. So a lot of people are saying he's gonna want to set up the Justice League right away. Which I mean,
maybe.
listen, I don't care who the head is, as long as they make like good movies.
yeah.
I don't care.
Well, no matter what their prior work is, like I'm gonna go in with open.
Yeah,
Like, but I was gonna say this, DC, but I'm kind of like, I wasn't like as educated about the whole Flash situation because like I'm not a big DC person. Like I like Batman, like, but everything else, like especially with their recent run of like films, like I love Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad.
yeah.
Excuse me, let me clarify that. But
Mhm.
I love that. I love the new Batman. Like they Joker. I mean, they've had some good films, but I'm just not overall invested, and especially with the Flash. Like I don't really know too much about him, and my friends like kind of explained like what this movie is and like the Flashpoint like timeline to me, and I could like. And I feel really bad for the fans of like of this stuff because like it's just been completely ruined. I mean, like I don't. Do you think that? Do you guys honestly think it'll ever release? Like, if you had to
The
make a
Flash?
prediction, yeah. Do you think
Yeah,
the movie
it's
will
Probably.
release?
it's
Yeah.
gonna
It's
because
just too far gone
it's
at this
not even
point.
that. Like, in order for them to redo everything, the Flash has to release because that reset. What they're gonna probably end up doing is like at the end, like there's gonna be something where he changes something and the entire timeline changes. So like it's gonna be a new actor as a Flash. I'm assuming they're gonna keep Shazam, Black Adam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman. But like everything outside of that is probably gone. Actually, no, I lied. They said Peacemaker is still going to be canon,
Mm.
but I doubt
Peacemaker's great.
Black
Peacemaker.
Adam is like I feel like that's kind of doomed. Dwayne Johnson is just so self-obsessed because
Yeah,
you saw like they were supposed to put him in the Shazam movie, and he was like, "No, like Black Adam has to have his own movie. He can't be with another
no,
hero."
it was Shazam was supposed to be in Black Adam,
No, no, it's the other way around.
but
He
honestly,
quoted the tweet, but he's just
honest,
so he only cares about himself. He has to be the
honestly though,
biggest star.
I think that's better. I
They're gonna
actually
go.
agree with him on that.
Mm.
It just gives like more time. Did you see why he said it?
Apparently, he said, "Oh, Black Adam like has his own story to tell." But there's things in like his contracts with his agents that he's not allowed to portray a villain. All of his characters that he ever plays have to be good or morally gray, and it's true if you
Yeah.
look at all. He plays the same character in every movie. He just has this public image. He has to be like this perfect guy, and I don't know. I
Mm.
just don't like The Rock.
The only
So
reason I'm somewhat intrigued in Black Adam is one because like well don't get me wrong, I'm not like some Dwayne Johnson like mega fan, but I'm intrigued to see The Rock like in
In a
like his
superhero
first
film,
big,
yeah.
superhero film. And there was that I guess an article or what I saw like an article that said it's gonna have like a kind of like Dragon Ball Z and Mortal Kombat esque
Yeah, they
action.
said that the
So
director.
I'm like kind of listen. I'm probably gonna go see it. I mean,
Oh, I'm
like
definitely
yeah,
too.
like So yeah, like I'm that's the only like thing I'm like kind of I want to say clinging on to. It's not like if this movie sucks, I'm gonna be like crying myself to sleep. But I don't really care. But that's the main thing I'm intrigued by. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't like the idea of Black Adam being like the head of DC, you know? Like he's
Yeah.
basically gonna be the Iron Man of new DC.
I don't think so.
But they're also hyping it up so much. Like, have you seen like how many times The Rock has fucking posted that like there's a new like
Yeah,
power
yeah.
structure in DC.
DC, yeah. He's
Like
hyping
it's
it up
like I
like
can't
it's
even
a
like take it seriously to be honest. It's just funny.
he's hyping it up like it's
Yeah.
like a fucking wrestling match.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you honestly start to feel bad for DC fans because like you said before, Joe, being a fan, imagine if you're a super fan of DC, they've been clinging on to like these four projects
Yeah.
for the last like 5 years, which is like The Flash,
Which
Aquaman.
I'm sure the Flash, Aquaman, Shazam, and this will all be entertaining. Like I don't think like I mean Shazam, the first Shazam was good. The first Aquaman was good. So I don't see
Yeah,
why
but
the second ones would be bad.
no, but regardless of if they're good or not, I'm just saying in terms of the amount of output that DC puts out. Like if you're a Marvel fan, you get like 6 or
Yeah.
7 projects every year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
DC
I
can't
was.
even.
You go,
No, go
man. You
ahead,
go.
go ahead. No, I was just gonna
I
say
was
they
gonna.
don't.
I was gonna come. Oh, you go, man. You go. You go.
So,
Yeah.
no,
You go.
yeah, it was a small point, but I was gonna say like they don't
Yeah.
even put out like one movie a year. Did they? What did they release this year? Anything or no?
DC,
Batman.
Oh, the Batman. Okay,
Batman, and I guess
and Black Adam
Peacemaker.
will come out.
Peacemaker. Yeah. Peacemaker.
Peacemaker was very. I know you didn't watch it, but it was very good.
Oh, you haven't watched Peacemaker? Yeah, man. You gotta watch Peacemaker.
Yeah, I
Is
watched like
quality.
the first 2 episodes, and then I don't know. I just never got around to watching the rest.
Yeah. It happens.
But yeah, you could go ahead and say your final point that I cut you off twice.
Oh, I was gonna say, in your point, to the fans, like some of my friends, like have the same people who kind of educated me on the Flash stuff. Like they're huge. Like one of my friends is even like a bigger DC fan than Marvel fan, and he's just like suffering. Like me personally, I don't really care. Well, when it's not that I really care, you know. Like obviously, I hope it's good. You know, like all better for the genre to have more superhero films that are great. But I, it's not like make or break for me if like you know the Flash movie comes out. Like I don't really care too much, you know. Like,
Yeah.
talking to them, like they're like fucking pissed off.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Like yeah,
Imagine if like for me, I guess only for you, kind of too, like One Piece.
yeah,
like
One
fucking.
Piece or like something or like. Well,
Well,
actually, I have experienced it with Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars went down the drain, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But so I guess I've kind of just let go of that. Like just I'm not really mad over it anymore. But yeah, in terms of like superhero films are a bit different because like you're gonna get like a lot of content. Like this is gonna run, especially with a whole brand. DC, Marvel. So if you're somebody that prefers like DC over Marvel, like you're suffering the most out of like a lot of people right now. And I know there's a lot of diehard people who love DC. So
What's crazy about this Black Adam movie is like it was when it was originally announced. I don't even think like the MCU was around or like I know the it was like the
this
first
got announced a
Avengers.
while ago.
It was announced, I'm pretty sure, in 2007 was when it was originally. It was going to be he was playing Black Adam in the Shazam movie, and then like that ended up not happening, and then they had a whole like change of I don't know.
Yeah, there's something crazier though, is
What?
that the Flash movie was announced like a week before
Oh yeah,
the
the
first
actual Flash.
episode of the Flash show, which now has like 9 seasons and has ended already, and the Flash movie still didn't come out yet.
That's insane.
I want to see like because there was a bunch of directors originally with it.
Well,
Yeah.
hasn't like the Flash like they have like an official Instagram that's verified for the movie? Hasn't it not like posted anything in like not like 2 years, like a while? Like I'm
I
pretty
don't know.
sure about that.
I'm sure if they because they probably know if they post, they're just gonna get flooded with like Ezra
Yeah,
Miller hate, you know?
which is just
Yeah. But honestly, no, we probably should move
I've
on
said
just
this.
because.
Well, I want to say
Yeah.
one last thing, but I've said this about DC. Like after, like somewhere between Justice League and like Batman vs Superman, like there was a video of Ezra Miller, like who was clearly like on drugs or of some kind, and he like chokes a fan like on camera,
Oh
and,
yeah, I
like
saw
carries it
that.
around. After he did that, they probably should have moved on. Like everything that's happening at this point on is honestly, I think, just
You gotta remember too. Also, like this is we are finding out about this stuff now. Like I'm sure they knew
yeah, they had
more
to have
than the
heads up.
public
So you
knew
know what?
before that. Yeah, like
I feel bad for the fans, but Warner Brothers, you reap what you sow.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't talk about the Flash no more, honestly. I've had enough of Ezra.
Yeah, it's
I
honestly
feel like
been going on
we're
for
gonna
so long.
what's crazy is we're gonna be doing this podcast in like 2 years still talking about the Flash is coming out next week. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But yeah, just since we were talking about superheroes, I wanted to see what you guys thought of She-Hulk. We watched the first 2 episodes.
I really
So just
enjoy it. Honestly, I really do
yeah,
like it.
I like it a lot.
yeah, I definitely enjoyed the first episode more,
Yeah, same.
but I like just the vibe of it overall. It's a comedy, you know.
Fun,
Yeah.
It knows what it is.
It's very comic. It's just comic book fun, you know. You're not really into any. It's not. You're not coming in there for like something that's gonna blow your fucking mind, but it just doesn't take itself seriously, and it's fun. And like, I'm not somebody that's really like insane on the Marvel shows. Like, I thought Hawkeye was okay. I thought Moon Knight was like okay. I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier was hit and miss. I thought WandaVision was hit and miss. Loved Loki. Haven't watched Miss Marvel, but this, like, from episode one, like once you got into it, like this has gripped me, and I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Yeah,
No, you
what's
can
it
go
called?
ahead.
What was I gonna say? I also like how in the other shows they tend to do this overarching story that they kind of have these episodes where it doesn't feel like TV. Like TV should have there's a conflict in an episode and then it resolves by the end of the episode, but there's also this other overarching conflict. So it feels more like actual TV because there's like conflicts within each episode. In like Moon Knight,
Yeah.
for example, it's kind of like every single episode's a cliffhanger and it's just one big story, so you don't feel satisfied with each episode, you know?
Yeah. Well, especially in the second episode, because it's only 30 minutes, and I mean, it's kind of, it comes in and it comes out and it leaves you entertained. Yeah, and I kind of like it for that. It's not because it has more episodes too, so they're kind of spreading it out. So I'm
Yeah.
happy it's going in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll probably see Daredevil. I don't think he's in the first 4 episodes because critics saw those, and I don't think anyone mentioned that, but Daredevil will be there at some point, hopefully episode
Yeah.
5. But yeah, I
Not
mean, it's just Marvel fun. I don't really know if you guys had anything else to say about it.
yeah. Oh no, I was gonna want to dig into uh Wolverine being pretty
Oh yeah, I
much
forgot.
shown. I want to
Yeah.
say canon, because obviously it's canon, but like the first, like, in the MCU, like, mention of Wolverine was in episode 2. And honestly, I think episode 2 really felt like an answer to a lot of Marvel haters, because a lot of people have, like, not that, like, not saying they're justified, because some of the pushback against Marvel has been reasonable in my opinion. But it kind of fleshed out a bunch of things. Like, you see Abomination. They mentioned, like, the Edward Norton Hulk in that one joke. I don't know if you guys caught
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
He's like, they're talking about, like, him fighting Abomination, and he's like, oh yeah, like, that was so long ago. I was a completely different person, literally. Like, I thought that
Yeah.
was really funny.
Yeah, and
Like,
then just to like rub it like She-Hulk turns to the camera is like, haha. I
yeah,
thought that part was funny. Just the fourth wall breaks. They're very subtle
yeah,
and they're done
yeah.
well.
And Hulk rides off, and a lot of people have been complaining about this iteration of Hulk and like how he's just kind of whatever. And they actually set up in this episode for Hulk to be doing something. He flies off into space. I don't know if that sets up like World War Hulk or Planet Hulk or something. Like, maybe that's going to tie into that. So
Yeah, they'll
that's
probably
cool.
do I think they're planning a World War Hulk thing, so they might do he's going back to Sakaar and like maybe he finds out like the Avengers like did something wrong by him or
Yeah.
because that's how it is in the comics and I don't know. But yeah, that
Yeah. Well,
you're right. You're
that.
actually right. I didn't think about that, but they are kind of like quickly just like
Yeah.
going over people's complaints, you know?
Yeah, and the Wolverine mention, I was actually watching the episode with my friends, and they made me rewind to see it, because they happened to like both see it prior, and like see prior that there was a mention. So like when it came up, they were like, "Oh, this is it," and it said, what does it say exactly? It's like man with metal claws is in a bar brawl or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I'm curious to see who they're gonna cast as him. I mean, that's gonna be such a big casting, like whoever gets it. But it was really cool, especially just to have a mention of that in the MCU. Obviously, we've seen Wolverine and Fox X-Men, but it's
Yeah.
gonna hit different when Wolverine is on screen in the MCU. It's gonna
Do you
be.
have like
I think it's gonna
a
be a
dream?
great moment.
Do you have a fan cast or not really?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, Hugh Jackman is so great. Imagine like Hugh Jackman comes back, but I don't. You know what?
Nah,
He might just leave it after one
he's
movie.
older now. He's not gonna do
Yeah.
it.
I think they're gonna get somebody like, they're definitely gonna. But I trust them, like, with Marvel and the MCU, like, I completely trust them to make the right call. Like, I'm not worried about it. But I'm sure you guys know more about like individual actors and stuff like that. You guys could probably have some good fan picks for Wolverine.
Yeah, I
I
mean, a lot
know.
of people want Taron Egerton.
Yeah, that's what I was
I don't
gonna
really
say.
The
see
guy who
him
played
as
Elton
it,
John.
but
Yeah, because
That's the only thing I've seen him in.
he's short and he's like kind of built. So a lot of people say Daniel Radcliffe too.
yeah, that's my choice. Daniel Radcliffe, I think
Daniel
would be great.
Radcliffe. Those are like the main two I've seen cast. Like not cast, but like that people say, oh, they'd be a good fit.
Yeah, as long as they do something, they have to differentiate themselves from Hugh Jackman because otherwise they're just gonna
No,
like
they're
get
gonna go.
compared
They're
to
gonna
him.
go like more comic book accurate and make him
Yeah.
shorter. That's like the big thing.
Yeah, they should make him short, like put him in his stupid spandex costume, just like make him different than what Hugh Jackman was, so people
I
don't
want to see him
compare
in
it.
the. I want to see him in the yellow costume, like primarily in this. To be honest, I think that would be like a cool. Like, I think they should do that. Hugh Jackman has look gritty,
Yeah, and
like type
they
of. I
most
think they're gonna
likely
go
will.
more into that. Yeah, yeah, it's safe to assume.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we can move on from She-Hulk. Um, let's see. Also, I guess we could talk about the fact that they just started filming The Boys season 4. I don't know, Joe, do you watch or no?
I have not seen it yet, but my friends give me so much shit. Like, I want to say for like the past like 3, like even when it first like season 1, like they were giving me shit to watch it, and I was gonna watch it, but then I watched Better Call Saul, and sometimes I just get burnt out, and I ran through that whole show, and it was so long. So I started
Yeah.
watching movies instead. So I never got around to watching it, but I've heard how good it is. I'm gonna get around to it eventually.
Yeah, it's like, and you know how much I love Marvel, but it's that The Boys is my favorite superhero media that's out.
Yeah, it's really really good.
It's that good. And they just cast Jeffrey Dean Morgan for next
I
season.
saw that.
Yeah,
And he's just like looking at him, he's like the perfect fit for the boys world, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I agree.
it's crazy how quick they got into filming this though, because I feel like the last season basically just ended. Um,
Didn't it get? It may have got delayed though due to COVID. And that's why.
yeah, no, you're probably right, honestly.
I know Jeffrey D. Morgan was originally going to appear in season 3, but like there was scheduling conflicts, so they ended up writing him out. But I mean, he's
Was
been
he?
talking. Yeah, well, I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but I know he was involved. Or at least they spoke to him before now. Like this isn't the first time they've had conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I know. I'm trying to think what happened at the end. Maeve goes
They,
off.
well,
Oh yeah, so like
don't
people.
get into
Oh
Joe.
yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'll just say that people, the world is willing to let Homelander do more than he thought he was able to do.
Yeah,
So he's probably gonna be going
Joe,
apeshit
you'll actually
next
really
season.
appreciate it
I'm gonna get around to it eventually.
because the way they portray Homelander in season 3 is more like a very like authoritarian, like
Well, yeah, I've seen some of it. He gets on like like
the news and like just says like,
fights with
oh,
the reporters,
yeah,
and yeah, like it's very grounded in like today's society, like the
yeah,
social. Like I've seen like it's got social media. I actually have watched an episode of The Boys. I watched the Hero Gasm episode, and just because my friends just wanted, they were all like mad hype for it, and I watched it with them, and I thought it was cool, but like I didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean,
Yeah, that's like a weird one to
yeah, it's
start
a
on.
weird one.
yeah. I'll get around to it eventually. I've heard how great it is. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna talk like more about my predictions, but just since you didn't watch it, I'll save that for another episode or something. But I guess the only other things I wanted to talk about were just like a couple small announcements that I just thought were cool, which is one of them is they announced Saw 10. And I don't know how you guys feel about the Saw franchise, but I love Saw.
I've only
And
seen one of them, and
I honestly have not watched
it
them.
was Matt. You've seen all of them?
yeah.
Oh, so you could probably guess which one I'm talking about because I don't remember the name of it, but
Yeah.
actually I
They
think
kinda,
it might have been called Jigsaw. Is that one of
oh
them?
yeah, that one's
Yeah,
terrible. But
yo, I watched that with my friends like so long ago, and I didn't really like think of anything of it. I just kind of was just like, all right, like after I saw it, and there was like this twist at the end where like it's like all
it's a
taking place in the
prequel or
past.
something.
They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, like when that happened, like one of my friends in the movie was with us was like a huge fan, and he was like losing his mind. Like
Yeah, I mean
I was like, all right, like
they always they
it's
have to like figure out a way to keep Jigsaw like alive because they always like show him die and then the next movie they're like, oh wait, like he actually survived somehow. And they
and
just
that
have
was
like
like
these
funny and
crazy plot twists that are just so like ridiculous that I love.
yeah.
And they have the guy Tobin Bell. You've probably seen him. He's like the original Jigsaw guy, like that old dude.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, yeah. He was in
I
that movie,
think
right?
yeah. honestly,
I've
like,
recognized him. Yeah.
he wasn't in the most recent one, which is called Spiral, and it starred, like, Chris
Wasn't that
Rock.
with Chris Rock? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah.
It was okay. It was okay. Like, the traps were cool, the kills were cool. It was just, like, I wasn't, like, pulled by the story that much, and the twist was kinda stupid, but I hope in the new one, they just say screw it and go, like, the whole twin brother route with Tobin Bell because, like, he's definitely dead now, but if they literally just made him show up and be like, "Yeah, the guy you saw die was actually my twin brother," like, it would be so stupid, but it would just work for Saw, you know?
Yeah.
But I would recommend those movies. They're just, like, quick,
Should I watch
fun
the original? Is the
watches.
original like the best one? Like, what's?
The original is way more grounded, and it is very good, but it's not as, like, in-depth with the traps. The original is just there's these 2 guys in a room, and their legs are handcuffed to a pipe, and the only thing that's in there is a saw, and that's it. They
Yeah,
have
they
to,
gotta
like,
saw
get
it
out
off.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
I've heard of that scene. Yeah.
yeah, but as it goes on in the series, they get, like, these insane traps where it's
I've seen
like,
some of them. Like I've seen
you've s
like when I was like younger. I'm sure like I vaguely remember like my friends would like show me like some scenes from them. Like I've seen like I know what like I have the gist. Not the
yeah,
gist, but like
probably
the
the
vibe of it.
most one of them is like, "Oh, you have to, like to get the code for this door, you have to, like, jump into a pit of heroin needles." It's just, like, this crazy stuff that's, like,
Yeah.
like, ridiculous that it's kinda funny in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
The most famous is probably the reverse bear trap, which it's,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I've seen that before.
The
Yeah.
butterfly trap.
yeah. I love Saw, so I'm glad that they announced it, but, yeah,
Yeah.
since I would just recommend you guys to watch those at some point.
And
Um,
speaking of horror, I don't know if you guys saw too. They announced the new like a retelling of um Hellraiser.
Yeah, Hellraiser.
It's going straight to Hulu. It's coming
That's the
out
one with the
October
female
7th.
pinhead,
Yeah,
right?
it's a female pinhead. Actually, yeah, it is a
they
girl.
showed a picture of her too.
Yeah, you
I don't know
can't
if
really
you saw
see
it.
it that
I
well.
haven't seen it.
I saw it, but you can't. It's like in dark red lighting, so you can't really make out any of the features. I mean, it just looks like Pinhead. But I'm
Yeah, I'm
hoping
excited.
they take like a similar route, which what they did with Prey. Where they take it, they have a new take on it. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. I just want them
Yeah,
to
Joe,
like drop
because
a trailer.
I don't know if Joseph Richard, I don't know if you saw Hellraiser, the original.
I have not seen any of them.
Yeah, I showed it to Joe.
Is the
Um,
first one really good?
yeah, the first one's very good.
Yeah,
The second
first
one
one's
is
pretty good.
good, and the third one is also very good. I like the first 3 are really good, but then they start getting, like, straight to video from, like, 4 onward. I'm pretty sure the 4th one, like, takes place in space, and every time, like, a horror franchise goes to space, like, you just know
Yeah, it's
that
That's how
pretty
you
much
know it's
over.
over.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's not
yeah.
over, but they're in that like redundant like cash grab.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Hellraiser is just a very cool concept, and Pinhead and the Cenobites in general are very cool villains.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they do with it. Mm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing I wanted to quickly discuss was they cast the lead for the new Planet of the Apes. They're making a new trilogy apparently, which like the first 3 that came out, I love those movies with like Caesar, and I feel like they were
I
very
I only saw 1 and 3. Um,
Yeah. I don't think I saw the second one. I saw
wasn't
one, three.
James Franco in one of them, or am I wrong?
yeah, he's in the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah, I thought the first one, I left the movie and I was like, that was good. And then the third one, I couldn't like tell you what happens in these movies in detail. Like I just remember seeing them. And the third one I thought was good too. Like I remember like doesn't like Caesar like die at the end, right? I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
so,
the
yeah.
third
I haven't
one.
seen it in a while, but I think he
And
dies, yeah.
yeah, like I remember like he like leads them to like the promised land or some shit. But is this like more like in like the post war? Because the first 3 were kind of like more of like a show of like them taking over.
Mhm.
Is this? I'm assuming like with this one they because like if you like I haven't like seen the original Planet of the Apes movies, but I know like it takes more like you see like like the Statue of Liberty like in the water or off to the side of like the beach, like it takes place like when like the apes have like taken over. So I'm curious of like if it's gonna be like that, like they're gonna just jump to that point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just the guy who they cast is
Oh yeah,
his
who
name's
they cast?
Owen.
Yeah,
His name is Owen Teague. I don't know if you saw the It movies.
I have.
Like he plays Henry Bowers, like that crazy You know, like the
Oh, the
crazy kid
crazy
that
kid who like he like
Yeah.
stabs his dad when he sees the TV scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
I feel like
yeah.
I mean, that's the only
yeah.
thing I've seen him in, but I feel like he could pull it off. It's definitely gonna be hard to follow Andy Serkis because he's just such a great motion capture
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm excited. I feel like there's a lot to be done in that world, and the fact that the VFX looks so good, it's just like a sight to
Yeah. The
watch it, you
CGI
know?
was great.
Yeah.
CGI was great.
Do you know if it's releasing in like? Because I want since Disney produced, how brutal do you think they'll get? Like with some of the
They'll get
action
just
and
as brutal probably as they were with the other ones because it never went too far, you know, there was people dying and
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It was like pushing PG-13. It was right where you expect it to be.
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to mention that because I'm really excited, and that's something that will just fly under the radar, and just because of what's going on at Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess we can move on to the thing, but I don't know if there's anything else that you guys remember seeing.
I can't think about it.
All right. Yeah, so let's just quickly. So Joe, you recommended this last week. Why don't you give us a little introduction to the thing?
So the thing takes place, I believe, in the 80s, right?
1982.
Yeah, 1982. So this group of, I don't know if it's researchers or like people that the army scientists are in Antarctica, and one day this dog just shows up out of nowhere, and there's like
Gun shooting at
yeah,
him.
it's just, I don't know, some other like camp from another shooting at him, and they're speaking a different language, and they're trying to shoot at the dog, and like these people here, are like, what the fuck's going on? And they kill the guy, and what they don't realize is that, like, I mean, eventually they do, obviously, but the dog wasn't a dog; it's this alien, and the alien's ability is that it can copy any other life form and imitate it like perfectly. So it basically gets like among the people,
Among
and
Us.
then so it's honestly, Matt, you agree with me too, and Joe, you probably agree. Actually,
Yeah.
Among Us 100% has to be inspired from the
Yeah.
thing. 100.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's kind of like the first of it, like the earliest movie I can think of that's like that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this movie actually technically,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? This movie actually takes it a different place because this
The
is
original,
a,
the
this
thing
is a
from-
remake because the
yeah.
one from the '60s is just like an alien pulling up. I don't think it imitated anything.
No, it
like
didn't.
it wasn't like like
So
they were
the
trying
thing,
to
yeah,
snuff
the
it
thing
out.
from outer space that he's referring to, the thing from outer space, which came
Yeah.
out like 20 years earlier, which was similar. Uh, thing that they're in Antarctica and they find this alien,
Yeah.
but it's just like a generic alien. Like there's no, but in this alien like can copy other people, so it makes for these like super unique looking, like humanoid type
The peak
aliens.
of '80s practical
Yeah,
effects.
like if
The
you're a fan
absolute
of practical effects, you'll absolutely love this
peak.
movie.
Absolute peak.
And
Yeah, and
Matt, you can
yeah.
go, yeah.
Um, just for those who don't know, it's directed by John Carpenter, and this is like widely regarded among horror fans as the best use of practical effects in horror that there is, and it's probably the best that I've seen, or at least towards the top, 100%.
Yeah.
And
You go, man. You
it's
go.
it's just like such unique designs, and it's crazy because the guy that actually did the makeup, his name is Rob Bottin. When he got hired to do it, he was only 22, which is
Yeah,
crazy. And
because
yeah,
he came up with the idea of like it can. Me and my brother watching like a behind the
like a
scenes type of
yeah.
thing, and they were just talking about like inspiration for the movie, and this guy said like he came up with the idea, this 22-year-old, that like the thing can imitate any creature, even things it's seen in the past, like from space and stuff. So I had all these like uh drawings of like different alienoid type creatures that it could turn into if it wanted to.
Yeah, it's
Which
supposed to be like some interdimensional being. So anything that it's encountered up until that point, it can mimic that into like these
yeah.
monsters. But
Yeah.
also in the first transformation, when the dog transforms, that its face like opened up. I feel like that might have been an inspiration for like the Demogorgons from Stranger Things.
It's
How his
definitely
face,
possible, yeah, from that because
you
they
know,
get a lot of their inspiration from the.
I actually just watched this movie with my friends, and I'm not even kidding, Matt. Like at that scene, he literally said it's a Demogorgon. Yeah.
yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for creature design, like, it's not a bad choice to go to this movie
No,
for
not at all.
Yeah,
inspiration.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Yeah, one complaint that I did have though was the first shot is a UFO coming down to Earth.
yeah.
So it does kinda because then you know
Give
right
it
away,
away.
okay,
Give it
it's an
away. Yeah,
alien.
yeah,
It's not like, "Oh, what is this thing?" Like, is this a demon? Is this, like, some sort of
yeah,
ghost? Like, so
Yeah,
the
I
fact that
mean,
you know it's an alien right away does take away from the mystery a little bit, but it's
yeah,
again, like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just something that I noticed
yeah,
that I would have changed. Um,
yeah,
there's just so much to unpack here, honestly. And
yeah,
like we were talking about before with the paranoia for bodies, bodies, bodies. This just it's that whole idea
yeah.
of paranoia. You can't
Um,
trust your friends, you can't trust your comrades, you know?
yeah.
Anyone could be infected by the thing.
And
yeah,
being infected by it, it's not like, hey, like this thing's just gonna like fucking kill you and that's it. It's like quite an insane fate. As like you like sit, like the one scene where the guy's like tied to the chair and like he just starts convulsing and his whole body just like rips apart. Like I
yeah,
mean like you know it's like this like an extremely like the stakes are like you know the tension you know is really like
yeah. It's not
is
just like a
really well
zombie
done. You
infection
know
where
it's
like
not like you just
you know
die.
you're
You know
bit and like you just
you know
either like you'll
or being the
fall off.
person that's not that and like wondering what's gonna turn into that and like rip
Yeah,
me apart and like I mean that you remember the one scene where like it like gets up and like grabs that guy by the head and is like throwing him
yeah.
around
His head like
yeah
splits
the
open
head
and bites
splits
him. Yeah,
open yeah I mean like it's like it's one of those movies where like if you think about like being in it you're like holy shit
yeah,
like that would be horrifying like you know
Yeah, and the thing that makes it so good is there's all these, like, practical bloody effects that are scary, but it's also scary in the idea of not knowing who you can and can't trust. So it works
exactly.
both in a paranoia thriller aspect and also in just a classic horror aspect, which
Yeah,
makes it such
I
a great
agree.
film.
Yeah.
yeah
Um,
I wanted to bring this up to you guys but growing up, I used to watch this reviewer like from this Cinemassacre, and he would always talk about like
Oh yeah, I know
yeah,
cinema.
sometimes like things are better, like stuff is scarier when there's something like in front of the camera. And like for me, like I feel like this like the movies that scared me the most, like as a kid, were like this movie was definitely among them, but like aliens and all that stuff. Like there's something like about like the practical effects of like older horror movies that hit a little different. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
for
because
me,
even
it's like physical. Like you can
it's also
not that CGI. It doesn't look like it's there. It's just when it's like physically there. It's like I don't know.
yeah. Well,
yeah,
especially in
because
this movie with the transformations and
Yeah,
shit. I mean, you know.
yeah, and even though it's like it's not at you know it's fake, but it does look more real because it's physically like happening. If it's
yeah,
CGI, you're like, oh, that's just like a computer, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen. I don't know the exact year, but I want to say like 2008, 2009. It's like a prequel to this one, but that one uses all CG and like I haven't watched the movie, but I've seen some scenes from it, and it doesn't hit like nearly the
So
same.
yeah,
I mean,
me and my brother were talking about that actually a
yeah,
couple
isn't it
days
like a
ago.
prequel like to this one?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a prequel, but also, um, they shot the entire movie in practical effects. Like they had everything, and who was it? Was it Warner Brothers, Universal?
I think it was Universal.
Universal said, yeah, like it looks like 80s campy, and they were kind of just like, that's the point, and they made them redo the entire movie with visual effects.
Wow.
So like if you
Yeah.
look up online like Thing 2011,
Oh, it's
like
2011. Yeah.
practical effects, like you'll see behind the scenes of like actors with the practical effect things on
I'd be
them.
curious to watch that movie like with
It
like the
definitely was
original
still
cut.
it definitely was still a
Surround.
bad movie, but I mean I
Yeah.
haven't watched it in so long, but it doesn't compare anywhere to the original. But if it had the practical effects, it definitely would have been
More interesting.
yeah, and perceived a little bit better too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this film is like the definition of a cult classic. It
Yeah.
came out and was panned by critics, and it didn't make a lot of money. It
Yeah.
was a
I didn't
failure.
even know that. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, it was considered a failure, and I think John Carpenter like lost his. He was supposed to direct E.T., I think, and they said no because this movie didn't make enough money,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy. I mean, Spielberg directing E.T. is obviously like still great.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. He was gonna drink damn it drink. He's gonna direct
Yeah.
E.T.
Yeah, also, as I was thinking about it, there was a couple things where I was like, on a rewatch, this would probably work better, which was, first of all, the dog at the beginning, the guy going after the dog, 'cause you realize, like, damn, if he, like, killed it or shot it and exposed it, like, the whole movie could have been avoided. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
also, the guy Blair, who's, like, the scientist, when he freaks out and, like, destroys all those computers and, like, destroys all that stuff, I'm pretty sure he was infected already. That was the thing
Yeah.
doing that, and the reason why was because he wanted to stop them from communicating to anyone on the outside,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that kinda makes more sense in that moment because I was like, "Why the fuck is he tweaking out right now?"
Well, it's
Like,
interesting that like when it grabs all the other people, like it just kind of just like rips them apart and like uses them. But like with him, like it's almost like like you remember like when they go down in the cave in the last scene, like he's walking around like as like normal human. Like I guess like he like I wonder if like he like like chose to do that or like it's just like using it like it just chose him.
Yeah,
Like
well, I mean,
I mean,
also, just to get into, like, what I thought my favorite scene was, which kinda goes into that, um, I really liked the hot needle scene with the blood. It
yeah,
yeah,
was
it's
it was
so
very
the tension in that scene is probably the
yeah.
best. The
Yeah, and
best.
the thing was just like a human at that point. He was like a guy pretending to be sitting there, you know? So it
Yeah.
kinda like it's like, what is his motivation? Like, why is he's just sitting there. But that whole scene was amazing because you have
Yeah.
all this, like, build up, and then when it finally does happen, there's, like, this crazy transformation and kill, which
Yeah.
I thought that, like, kinda, like, encapsulated the point of the movie in that scene.
Yeah. No, 100%. I would probably say that's my favorite scene too. I mean, it's just because what's gonna happen, but like the build up and like tension to it is like really well done, and then it rewards you with like a scene that's just like the movie does a great job. Like it has scenes of just complete insanity, but it builds you up to them where it doesn't feel like it's like an action fest. It almost like it makes the scenes like when
Hit
it
way
actually
harder, yeah.
yeah when it actually like pops up, you're like holy shit. And that I feel like that movie was like that scene was like the best done instance of that because it just builds
Mhm.
up the moment,
Yeah.
you know. And then
What
the
did you think?
chaos and
Yeah.
the action that ensues after that is like just gory, mess. Like it's great.
Yeah. Matt, what'd you say?
No, I was saying, what did you think? Did you like any other scene besides that, or
I mean, any of the I really like the CPR scene where he
Yeah,
goes to give
yeah,
the shock and his stomach opens up like a jaw and just crushes his arms.
yeah,
That was
Yeah, I
so
feel like
like
that's one
if
that's shown a lot when, like, you look
yeah.
when people think of this movie, like, they
The
usually think
head,
of that
yeah,
scene.
on the
the
floor.
head, like the
No, I
spider
love the
thing.
line from the characters. Like they like the head like crawls off and like grows like legs and starts like walking and like they turn around. They're like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" And they look at it and then they just torch it. Like that scene's great.
Yeah.
And then
Hey, wait, Joe and Matt, obviously not here, but like, so this was a practical effect shot. Like,
yeah, that looks
see, and
interesting.
then
Yeah,
this is what like they changed it to visual in the movie,
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
which
Yeah,
it
that's
just
just
like
that
it doesn't hit as hard. Yeah,
it was in an era where, um, these big studios were like, CGI was new, kind of. Not really, but good CGI was new, and they were like, "Oh, like, we have to update our stuff. We can't be using, like, these practical effects." But now it's kinda like a renaissance of people loving that stuff, you know?
yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
So I actually had an like I was talking about this with Matt too. The like I feel like making no disrespect towards obviously the thing from 1982 is a masterpiece, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But I feel like you can definitely make like at least a decent thing movie. Like you could there's so much potential with the thing. Like you could literally just drop it in any time period, any place in history. You'd have a really interesting story. Like drop it in like ancient Greece or like like any time period too. Like I feel like it would just be interesting to see how they portray it in like different places in the world. Like different like imagine they put the thing in like a fucking city. Like
yeah.
in like New York City.
There's actually a scene in this movie where they like one of the guys is on a computer and it says something like if it was in a city, like it would like take it over in like X amount of time, like or
Yeah.
something like he was like
Yeah.
looking at a computer and like I caught that like he was like it was saying something like that. So there is that intrigue, which makes me curious like why when they made the 2011 one, why they didn't go like in a different direction? Like why do it in Antarctica again? Like
It was supposed to be like
you
you know
know,
how the what was it?
like why do the same thing?
Norway was the other team that right, Matt? What was it? The country that?
Yeah, because I was looking into it because when they went back to that Norwegian camp, I was kind of thinking like, wow, like damn, like I'm kind of curious as to what happened. That
Is
this
that
like
is the 2011 movie the Norwegian? Is that like what happens
yeah,
there?
that's what
Oh, it
that's
is.
what it
Oh
Yeah.
is.
wow. Yeah.
So I mean, the
It's probably
concept
just
is
like the thing running through them, though. Like it's nothing too different, and it's still in the same setting.
Yeah.
it's a prequel, but it's basically a remake.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
um, I don't know. Was there anything else that stuck out to you guys? I had like a couple more things that I jotted down that I wanted to mention.
I like the characters. I mean, like listening to the characters, like I love the movie. I love movies where like shit hits the fan and like people gotta like react and like you
Yeah.
get to see what people do in like certain situations. And this is one of those movies like where like once again like as I was saying before, like you like it's one of those movies you picture yourself like there and you're like fuck that. Like
Yeah.
so it's interesting to see like you want a great cast that's just gonna like represent the chaos and the movie's very chaotic. Like when the
Yeah.
thing is not like rampaging, like it's the characters like turning on each other or going nuts, and I think the cast does a great job of depicting that.
Yeah, I guess we could mention our favorite characters. I mean, I'm assuming for all of us, it's probably
Kurt
McCready,
Russell,
Kurt Russell, yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole cast is good. I did like that
yeah,
Dr. Blair though a lot, especially when he like came back at the
yeah,
end, and snuck around.
yeah, yeah. He was pretty funny. Then they have him like locked in the shed, and he was like asking to come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, but I
Matt, do
also
you
wanted to mention the sound design and the music was very good. The music was very like eerie and it helped the tone a
Yeah,
lot. I was
Yeah.
noticing that throughout. And also the like scream of the creature was very off-putting. It felt
yeah,
like not human, but like close
Yeah.
yeah.
enough, which was very creepy.
The one
What
scene
were
where like
you
the guy's outside and he shrieks and they
Yeah.
torch him, like that. That
yeah.
like that was pretty.
What were you gonna
Now,
say though, Joe?
I don't know if you've ever seen, but they actually for the 2011 one, they had a practical effects and they like designed like what the creature looks like in its original form. And
I've never
honestly,
seen it.
I kind of like it. Yeah, I'll show Joe it. I'm gonna text it to you.
Yeah,
It's
that looks like some shit from Halo.
I mean, I never played
It's,
Halo. Like it's apparently they it got cut from the movie, but there was gonna be a scene where like the thing like because there's a scene in the 2011 one where they're on like the ship and like the pilot was supposed to come like this is supposed to be the pilot and it was gonna come out, but they ended up cutting it because like they didn't like this. It's kind of like a double-edged sword because like one idea is like it's cool to see what the original thing looks like, but the other thing is it kind of takes away from the mystery of like what it is exactly. So I
Yeah,
understand why they cut it.
if you just see it, then it's kind of like not as scary
Yeah,
anymore, unless it has like an amazing design. But
it's I like it, but I can understand why they cut it. It would
I
be
feel like
better if like
in terms of alien design, it's kind of hard to top the xenomorph.
yeah.
yeah.
But
Well, I was gonna. Here's another point I was gonna say. Another intrigue that like really helps the movie for me is like since it's like it's not like obviously it kind of has a look, but like every scene I rewatched this today, but like when I was first watching it, like you're wondering like what the fuck is it gonna look like when it like comes next, or like what is like like
Yeah, what form is it
because
gonna
there's some
take? Yeah.
crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like some of like the stuff, like it's just it's grotesque. It's morphing and it's like got like dogs coming out of it and like arms and eyes. It's
yeah,
like
it's so unique.
yeah. So it's not like any other monster movie where you see it once and you're like okay,
Yeah.
but it's got that going for it too.
Yeah, and I also liked how at first it kind of wasn't that great at imitating humans. Like remember the guy outside, it like couldn't get his form down fully and it had like his arms were fucked up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then eventually it got to the point where it was so perfect that like you couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
I'm trying
yeah,
to
but I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's not much else to say besides that
Yeah.
it's just like a master class in
Yeah.
how good practical effects can be if done
get
correctly.
done
This
correctly.
movie and Aliens is like the two '80s movies that like stick out to me with practical effects. Like Aliens is like of that same kind of esque, it's just
Yeah.
like action, like with the aliens and this movie too. I mean, it sticks out. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Where do you guys like compare this, or how do you guys compare this to Halloween, which is John Carpenter's like other huge hit?
I mean, I haven't seen Halloween in a while, but I think that The Thing is definitely a better film.
Yeah, I definitely. Not that. Listen, I watched the original.
Well, they're two different types of
Yeah.
films. Like they're both horror,
Yeah.
but this is more horror sci-fi, obviously. But Halloween's obviously
Yeah.
more horror thriller.
Yeah.
I feel like Halloween could probably be scarier because it's like this could actually happen to you,
Yeah.
like someone coming in with a knife,
on Halloween.
on Halloween.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it takes place in like in suburbia, you know.
yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more. It's not like taboo to people. Like this place takes place in Antarctica, which most people have never been to, and
Yeah.
it's an alien creature. So like
Yeah.
it's not really something that's gonna like scare.
Just like The Mask and like like
Yeah.
somebody roaming your neighborhood.
That's
stabbing people
that's
with,
definitely more like scarier because it's
Yeah.
way more possible.
Yeah, it's crazy how much like John Carpenter's contributed to the genre. He's
Oh yeah.
really like
Yeah,
he is
he's up
just
there. I mean, I think of like Wes Craven, George Romero, John Carpenter. Like those are like the biggest three. I'm probably missing some.
We
Like,
see other
you
things
live
that
a lot.
They Live, right? That's the one with the aliens.
yeah,
I've
They
seen that
Live
one too.
where it's like you wear glasses or something to see the.
Yeah, see the aliens among you. Like I thought that was alright. I watched it a while ago.
He hasn't done anything recently, right?
No, I don't even. Is he alive? I have no idea. I think he
No,
is,
he's alive, yeah.
but I don't. Yeah, he
Yeah.
hasn't done much recently.
Apparently, he directed The Fog, but I don't know if it's like an original idea or it's the one from.
It's Stephen King. Well, he's a writer though. Books.
Yeah.
He would kind of be up there, but yeah, like Wes Craven, George Romero, John Carpenter. Anybody else I'm missing? Like big horror names.
I mean, Raimi is up there. I would
Oh,
say
Raimi. Yeah, Raimi.
Sam
just because of
Raimi.
his style.
Yeah.
I mean, James Wan too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
definitely
could
Wes
call it.
Craven's probably like number one for me. I would
Yeah.
say, but Carpenter's he's also up there.
I like George Romero a lot. I've watched all his zombie movies.
Yeah, those are ones that like I know are classics and I have to get around to, but I just haven't
Yeah,
watched them yet.
the original, like Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, like the originals, like those two are great.
This is kind of way off topic, but it has to do with horror. I don't know if you guys saw, but they announced a Killer Clowns from Outer Space video
I
game
saw that. Yeah,
by the same people that did the Jason Voorhees video game.
the Friday the 13th
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Oh wow.
So I mean, I haven't watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, you have? That's a movie
No.
you should watch.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
That movie, I distinctly, it's one of those, like, sometimes you see movies and you just, like, remember exactly, like, what was going on and
Yeah.
where. And I remember I slept over at my cousin's house and I watched that when I was, like, 10. That movie scared the shit out of me. I mean, it was just because of the clowns and, But that movie's actually, I want to say it's an 80s movie. That's another 80s movies with really good practical effects.
Oh well, yeah, the
I think it's
designs.
but that's another good 80s movie. That's that horror movie that's got good practical.
Yeah,
That'll probably
and
be good. That game.
that's
Yeah.
like that's another cult classic because that's one that like got terrible
Yep.
reviews when it came out, and now it's like they're popular enough to make a game based on it. You
Yep.
know?
Well, that's kind of like a genre now. Like you had like what started it was Dead by Daylight. This one game, and they started.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't. I've played it a couple times. I can never really get into it, but it's kind of this newer like genre of game. Like this like the Evil Dead game that just dropped is similar to it. I don't know what I would call the genre. I couldn't tell you the genre, but it's kind of like horror. Like one person plays as the killer, and like there's survivors. Like that kind of game.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like that. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just before we get too off topic, let's give our ratings.
Yeah.
Joe, you could go
we
first.
all I think
Just
all
gave
of
it
us
to
gave
Steve,
it a
yeah.
4. Yeah.
4.5. Yeah, I
Yeah.
gave it 4.5 too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there as much as I love the movie, it definitely has its flaws. It's not a 5 star,
Yeah.
but it's a 9 out of 10. Like there are a few problems with the story to me, and I guess the ending wasn't my favorite, but overall, it's just like just because of what it's done for the horror genre in general and the use of practical effects, like it's a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually was like debating on what to give it, and like 4 seems a little bit like too low for it, and like 5 is like I don't want to say it's perfect. So yeah, like 4.5 is like perfect, for it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great movie. I've seen it 3 times now. Actually, I saw it once when I was a kid, and then another time like a bit later, and then I watched it again today. It's a great movie.
Yeah, that was my first watch, and I knew I was gonna like it just because I knew like the reputation it had.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
so Joe, thanks for recommending that. That was a great one.
Yeah, that was my first
that was a great
good
recommendation.
movie recommendation because my
Yeah,
other
when
one
you guys told me
was
it was going
fucking
on and you were like, "Oh, the
Detective
thing," I was like, "Oh, I'll easily talk about that." Yeah,
Yeah,
that movie, a great movie.
yeah, and it's like you said, it's an upgrade from Detective Pikachu, which you recommended last time. But
Yeah.
I guess yeah, before we wrap up, let's just get to the Q&A, and then I'll give
Yeah, I gotta
my
be
recommendation for next
5:30.
week. Let's see.
What questions we got?
Let's go to our questions. We got a couple. Oh, we got one from Rob Imp.
Oh,
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, let's go, Rob. Big podcast fan. His question is, what is the scariest movie you've ever seen? That's a good one. I'm gonna have to think for a second.
I could go
I
first.
know your answer, Matt, because you always talk
Mine
about it.
is, bro. When I was a kid, I watched the first Alien. And not that this is the scariest movie I've ever seen, but there were actually two movies that stuck in my head. One is Alien, the first Alien, because the second Alien is more of an action movie. The first one just really scared, especially because I watched it when I was really young, and like seeing like that movie like just scared the shit out of me. I mean, I had nightmares for days about that movie. The other one is the second. This is a more random one, but the second Blob movie from the '90s. Because some of the kills in that movie that movie's another movie with practical effects, like insane practical effects, like the way because people like the original is like more kind of I don't know if you've seen the original Blob, but it's like
58.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's listen, it's a classic and groundbreaking for its time, but like compared to today. But the one from the '90s has like there's like a scene where a guy gets like fucking sucked down a sink and like his leg is like coming out and people get like dissolved. Like I remember
more
that was
like
another one
grotesque.
I watched. Yeah, I watched that one when I was young too. That scared me a lot. Yeah, those two for
I
sure.
never watched the one from the
The
90s.
'90s. Yeah, I mean, if you want to like the
Body
effects
is
and
a
the
very.
people, yeah, like the effects in
Yeah,
that
I'll probably
movie
watch.
is
Watch this.
yeah, no, it really like aliens had me scared because like well I guess you could kind of say effects too because like the chest burster scene but that movie like was the first movie to like gross me out like as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the ones that I always go back to is for pure horror is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original,
Yeah,
and for like psychological, Black Swan. But just because I feel like I've mentioned that a few times before, I'll switch it up. When I was a kid, I was so scared of like dolls, killer dolls, and I feel like
yeah.
yeah, it was always
Slappy
like
from Goosebumps, bro.
yeah, I was gonna say Slappy from Goosebumps. I like
Slappy.
vividly remember watching that movie one day, and I was scared, so I was like laying in bed with my dad for a sec before I went to bed, and like his foot like moved in a certain way at the end of the bed, and I thought it was Slappy's head, like sticking his head up. So I just like freaked out, and it
That's
actually like scarred
yeah,
me. But yeah, like those Child's Play movies and like
yeah,
Night of
Yeah.
the Living Dummy, that stuff like used to
yeah,
Yeah.
terrify me as a kid.
yeah. That would be in there for me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
For me, like as a kid, I don't know if you. It's not really a big movie, but you ever hear the movie? Sam Raimi directed it. It's called Drag Me to Hell.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
The ending
That's pretty
scene.
good. I like that movie.
There's like an ending scene where like this woman gets like literally dragged to hell.
The train
And like the
tracks.
the demons come out and like pull her down and
Yeah.
like she's burning alive and it just scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Same thing. I had went in my mom's room at night because I was like scared. I don't know
The goat.
why.
Remember the goat from the movie?
Yeah, the goat like
yeah.
calls her a fucking bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That movie's very good.
and then now like most recently probably Sinister. Sinister really freaked me out.
Sinister's a good one.
Yeah, so it's a good movie in general, and then like
Sinister is one of the best modern horror movies I've seen.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I love it, but it just freaked me out for some reason. Like,
Ghoul.
I don't know. Like, yeah, Bagul.
Yeah. Ghoul's a scary looking motherfucker.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
the
like that,
Bagul lore is crazy too.
the tapes and shit. Like, and then like at the end with like the hidden like her killing the family and then like restarting the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's a really good one. Like
yeah,
recently, also The Conjuring, the first one's very
yeah,
scary.
Conjuring's good.
Hereditary is another one that's scary.
The girls on top of the dresser scared the shit out of me. Remember she's like on top of the dresser and she jumps down.
Yeah.
That scene got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the question, Rob. For the next one, it's from Alexandra, so another family member's helping out with these questions. Who's a character that you would say is a terrible person but a great character? That's a good question. And there's the one that instantly comes to mind is Homelander. Such a great character, but like just a complete menace and like
Yeah.
an actual dick.
I'm trying to think, like,
I got a couple of my
like, first one that comes to mind is I don't know if you'll probably agree with me, Joe. There's a character in JoJo's called Yoshigara Kira.
Oh, Kira, bro.
He's like a murderer, but he has
But a
like
freak.
he has like a hand fetish, so like he'll cut off girls' hands and shit.
Yeah.
And like he's such a cool character. Like his like powers is sick. Like he's really cool, but he's just like such a
Yeah, no,
fucking
he's a piece of
freak.
shit.
Like he's like a
He like comes like he gets his identity revealed and like slides into a family and like tortures this fucking kid like
yeah.
he's a
He just
he's
like
a
takes over a
menace.
family.
How he blows up Shigechi, I mean
Yeah, like his powers basically
yeah.
like anything he can
Anything
touch
he
like can
touches
turn
turns
into a bomb.
So he
And this
just
kid finds out his identity and he just like fucking blows him up like,
yeah,
in
like
front
this
of his
young kid,
friends.
like yeah. And, for me, this is a generic one, but Walter White, 100%. I mean, like Walter White goes on like one of my favorite like character arcs in like any show ever, like where he's just a guy. Like I'm gonna set up Breaking Bad without spoiling it, but he comes in as like a guy who gets lung cancer and can't afford to pay his bills, so and he's like a master chemist, so he like teams.
Yeah, he's the one who knocks, right?
yeah. But yeah, like what, like Breaking Bad, like has like my favorite like character transformation. It's him because the way they inch him into becoming just a total piece of shit, like that's just like a menace, is like so well done. Where like he just inches his way, things will happen, and it just inches his way.
Yeah.
And then the other one, what was the other one I was thinking of? Oh, this is kind of generic too, but Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. I mean, like Willem Dafoe, like especially in No Way Home. I mean, he's just such a fucking menace. But like even when he was like, he like spoiler, but he kills Aunt May. I mean, he fucking like. I was like rooting for him. I was like, Thanos too. I mean,
Yeah,
I love
Thanos. I was gonna say.
I love a villain that you root for. Like not because like they're right, but because like you just want to see them just like own shit.
Yeah, I know. Like for Killmonger's another one. Like
Killmonger's good. Yeah, Killmonger's awesome.
Like and I'm trying to think of like other characters.
Yeah, I would say like the most famous one is probably Milo from Morbius.
Yeah,
But he's just like he's such a well-written character, but he's so messed up for what he does.
Yeah. I mean,
No, but the real one, I mean, Darth Vader's one, but he's also he's not like a terrible person,
Well, I
that
mean,
he's like
if you think about it, like I mean, like go back to like A New Hope, like when they blow up Alderaan, like they technically just like murdered like 10 million like women, children, and humans. Like just blew them up in an instant. So I mean, technically, he's a terrible human being. So yeah, and he chops up a bunch of kids in the fucking Jedi Temple. So yeah. But yeah. Anakin Skywalker.
At least he gets redeemed, so.
Yeah. Perfect example of like a hero to villain to redeem character arc is Anakin Skywalker, pretty much.
Yeah.
Quintessential.
Yeah, so I guess my final answer would probably be Homelander.
Homelander is live action for me, and then like animated Kira. I mean, Dio2 is another one.
But Dio's just a dick.
Dio's just like a dick.
Not really elaborate.
Yeah, the guy Kira is like very calculated and like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, wait, Joe, what was your final one? Other Joe?
Which one? There's two Joes.
Walter White, you said, right?
Well, I said Walter White, and then I said Dafoe. I said Dafoe was Green Goblin.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Alexandra, thanks for the question. And one more question is from CPA Mom of Three. So for those of you who don't know, that's mine and Joe's mom and Joe's aunt.
Yeah.
So she's actually our biggest podcast supporter, and she listens to all of our episodes. So big shout out there. And she has a good question for us. What movie had the most disappointing ending, and how would you have rewritten it? This is kind of one that you have to like unpack for a little. So
Yeah,
I'll quickly say one that comes to mind, which is Rise of Skywalker. I know
oh,
you were talking about Star Wars a little bit.
yeah.
Just the decision for them to not make Rey a Skywalker and then have her just say she's a Skywalker at the end is like so stupid.
Yeah.
They could have just made her a Skywalker. Like, well, I don't understand why they had to go through all this, like bringing the Emperor back and oh, she's related to the Emperor.
What's like
It's just
different
because,
directors? Like they say she's
Yeah.
nobody, and then she's somebody. Like, and she's somebody big, like out of nowhere. It's like, what direction are you going with? It's like,
yeah, and it's just like it's so disappointing because it's the ending of a 3-film trilogy
yeah,
and also a 9-film saga, and it ends like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's 100% up there for me. But I mean but that's not like it's not like the whole movie. Like I guess it's how you look at the question is like, is it a movie that's like good the whole way and then just flops at the end, you know? But like like even before that, I wasn't digging what the new trilogy was doing. So it's not really like overall it's disappointing, but not just the ending, for me. I know
Yeah.
that you said you enjoyed them. Me personally, I didn't, and I thought Force Awakens was like okay, and I thought Last Jedi was ass, and I thought Rise of Skywalker was like awful. But that's just me. Um,
Yeah,
I,
is there anything that comes to mind for you guys?
I'm trying to think of
Not
one.
off the top of my head.
Yeah, like I'd have to
Rise
think
of
about something like
Skywalker
that. But
probably.
that's a good one. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I kind of like
Yeah,
that final shot with her with the yellow lightsaber, like on Tatooine. I kind of like that. But
yeah. One that also I just watched, which is kind of random, but I went to see Grease because it's back in theaters,
yeah,
and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the ending is just
don't they
what's
dance like the they dance through like those rides at like the Jersey Shore, like you walk through them.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like
But
a
the whole point of the movie is Sandy's supposed to be like this nice girl, and she's not gonna change for Danny. And then at the end, like the way to win over Danny is she just completely changes. She's like smoking a cigarette and like
yeah,
becomes a
yeah, yeah,
biker. And it's
yeah.
like,
No,
why would you like? What's the point of that? You made her go against everything that she was saying throughout the whole movie, just like to get the guy. It's like a weird message to send, you know? That's
yeah.
like a random one. But I'm quickly looking to see if I can find anything.
I'm trying. There's definitely something I could come up with to answer that. I just can't think of it off of like the top of my head.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah,
trying to.
one that also I see. I mean, I don't know if you guys disagree, but Nope, I thought had a bad ending. I didn't like
I
how
thought
Don't they like come up from like they find like the bunker that they're coming from or whatever, right?
no.
wait, which no, I'm talking about Nope.
Nope is the. I was thinking of them, the other Jordan Peele movie. Or was it them? What the hell?
Or no,
Us.
Us.
Oh, it's us, my bad. Yeah, I was thinking of that, like the ending of that movie where they come, they go down the
Yeah,
bunker.
that one
Yeah,
is kind of well,
yeah,
the whole thing with Nope, it was just I think it was revealed too soon that the thing wasn't a ship, you know.
yeah.
I
I haven't watched it, but I listened to your guys' podcast, and I heard about it that it's not like the alien is like the whole ship, like or the whole thing is an alien.
yeah,
Yeah.
like before that reveal, the movie was like a 4.5 for me, and I ended it with like a 3.5 just because the way they handled that I think was bad.
Yeah,
I still I gave it a 4.5. Like I really really enjoyed it. Like for me, even finding out that it was a ship. I mean that it wasn't a ship. Like I didn't lose me at all. But that's just me, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a tough question. It has to be
Yeah.
kind of
yeah.
like unpacked,
Yeah.
but
I could definitely think of a good answer. I can't
Yeah.
think of
Not
one off the
now.
top of
I'm
my head again.
exhausted.
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe we'll revisit that in another podcast or something when we can study it. But yeah, I mean, that's the last question, so that wraps up Q&A. I guess first of all, I just want to thank you, Joe, for joining us. I
No
hope you
problem.
had a good time talking
Yeah.
about some stuff.
Well, this is what we normally do, so we
Yeah.
just kind of did it, recorded this time,
Yeah.
in a more
Yeah.
formatted, way.
Yeah, and definitely like if you ever if we're ever seeing something that like we know you're super
Yeah,
interested in or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
we'll
All right.
definitely have you back.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
piece of
something
red
will
will
pop up.
be.
Yeah, one piece of when it comes out for sure. I mean, yeah, this
Yeah.
was perfect timing because like I could talk about Dragon Ball shit for like a year, like. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and we needed you because we would have just been like
yeah,
blathering
you guys
about
would
it.
have lost. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I guess before I wrap it up, I'll give my movie recommendation. And one thing that I noticed is we do tend to talk a lot about like horror and stuff like that. So I wanted to recommend something lighter, which it's a movie that came out in 2009. It's directed by Mark Webb, who did the
Oh,
Amazing
yeah,
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
movies.
He's doing the Snow White movie.
And it's a movie starring Zoe Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's called 500 Days of Summer. It's a rom-com, but it's not a traditional rom-com in the sense that it doesn't end how you would expect. I'll put it like that. So that's one of my favorite movies, and it's definitely one of my favorite rom-coms. So we can talk about that. It's also on Prime Video, so anyone who's
Oh.
listening can watch it. Yeah, so I guess in 2 weeks we'll meet back and talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, Joe, thank you for joining us. But that'll wrap it up. Any closing remarks?
I got nothing. Wait.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything to say. Yeah, we chopped it up.
All right. Yeah, I guess thanks for listening. I think this was probably our longest podcast yet. So
Yeah. I was gonna say we
Yeah.
dug into some shit, bro.
We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
yeah, and today's currently Wednesday. It'll release on Sunday. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, thanks guys for listening, and see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.